I can see from the robe dust on your clothes that you have traveled a great distance to be here, and so long as you cause no trouble for my folk, you are welcome to stay. It takes a hardy sort to make a living here on the edge of the wild, and the folk of Mossward will gladly put you to work, if you're willing. I think you'll find the people here to be friendly and welcoming, if you treat them kindly. I hope you don't mind me staring. We don't see many adventurers in these parts. The nearest we usually get is that Menelder. Says he's a ranger. It seems to me that's just an excuse for having dirt on his clothes and disappearing into the wild at all hours. But anyway, Mossward is a quiet village, always has been. Cause no trouble, and you can stay as you like. But first things first, you should pay a visit to our blacksmith, Scotty Benblade. He'll clean and fix up your gear for you. His shop is just up these steps. Look for the sign with the anvil on it. All right, thank you, sir.
Who's this?
You're an adventurer, I can tell. What brings you to Mossward? Before you can answer, the dwarf goes right on talking. This is a quiet village, and the folk here like it that way. I assume Bevan warned you not to disturb the peace. Of course he did. He says that to me near every fortnight, as if I might summon a troop of rowdy dwarves from my homeland at any moment. If only I could. What did you say your name was?
We don't see many adventurers in Mossward. I suppose Menelder here counts.
I am no adventurer, Scotty.
Well, what are you then?
I was a ranger. It is quite different.
You won't find a better smithy for miles around, friend. Put your gear on the counter, and I'll fix it up for you.
Alright, I'll take your word for it.
Very good. Won't cost you anything, friend. Not this time, anyway. Here you go. It's important to have a fine weapon.
Alright, thank you, kind sir. Just carrying around a bunch of equipment won't help you much in battle, as I'm sure you know. You want to be sure to equip your weapons before you get into a fight. My friend Scotty speaks the truth. You do not want to stride into battle without your weapons equipped, for they will do you little good at the bottom of your bags. He is right on this point as well. Mossward is a quiet village, and few adventurers come this way, let alone one who carries himself as you do. What road has brought you to Mossward on the border of Swanfleet, my friend? You consider what should be said of your past to this curious stranger. Would you speak of an upbringing that gave to you a desire to see distant wonders? Or of the dangers that even now encroach upon the lands of all free folk, compelling you to fight on behalf of those who cannot? Before you can choose the right words, Menelder raises his palm.
I do not mean to pry. Your past is your own.
My chieftain Strider always said...
What is that?
The town bells. Something is amiss outside.
Follow me. Hurry.
Uh-oh. Not looking good, huh?
The town is afire! We are under attack!
Under attack? By whom? This smells like orcs to me, Sepulchre, but I cannot understand it. Orcs have not troubled these lands for many years. Come with me and stay close. We will get to the bottom of this, and save the town if we must.
Follow me.
Look there. We found the villain. Show him no mercy.
That's the way. This goblin set so many fires alone.
There is trouble to the east, Rivendell. I need fighters.
My new friend here is capable and will provide the help you need.
I'm glad for any help you can give me. Stay close!
What will you do with it?
I will circle around and search for the one who leads these goblins. Farewell for now.
Rangers. Follow me, my new friend. There will be fighting.
Well, stop. You're mistaken.
I would not count on it. What did I tell you?
Ellery, I see you've been on listen. I like this one much more than these others.
Me too, Scarlet. Come with us. Look ahead. Those are not goblins. Uruks! Headwind!
I'm not afraid, Mother.
Not afraid? This brat hasn't heard of a fighting Urukai, boys. The machinery of war has been set in motion. The time of the Orc is at hand. Oswald, attack! Kill them all!
You are right, sir.
I had a better sword, I could have slain him myself. I wasn't afraid.
Oh, Tegwin.
Thank you so much for saving our son from those horrible creatures. What were they? Some breed of orc? Why would they come to Mossward? We are most fortunate you were here, stranger.
What do you make of this?
These Uruks have decorated their equipment with a sigil I have not seen before. The mark of a white hand. It may be the symbol of this raiding party, but for all the hurt this band has inflicted upon Mossward, they were still few in number and disorganized. What need have they for such a sigil? None now, thanks to our efforts, but still I wonder. I will think on it, Sepulchre. What meaning might this mark possess? Sepulchre, will you ask Ellery if she has seen this symbol before today? The white hand? No, I have not seen this symbol before, and that troubles me. What new danger might it signify? For now, we should help the folk of Mossward recover from this attack. I trust you will lend your aid. You have become embroiled in this just as I have. If it is a life of adventure you seek, I assure you that you seem to have found it, or it has found you. You have become part of a larger world, Sepulchre, and it may prove different than the one in which you lived until now. Dangers must be faced and threats opposed and overcome, if you are willing to strive against them. Not everyone is, but I judge that you will be no stranger to triumph and victory.
Some of Mossward's residents sustained injuries we cannot heal.
And they are beyond our aid. We will mourn for them later, but now we must focus upon those we can still help. An elder hands you a small bundle of bandages and a pouch of bitter-smelling salve. This is the last of my supplies, but there was no reason to save them for another day. Bring these bandages and this salve to the injured residents nearby. It is my hope that their hurts will not prove serious, and these will ease the pain of their injuries. Very well then. Time to treat the wounded. Thank you, Sepulchre. The people of Mossward sometimes look down upon the rangers that were once my kin, but they do welcome their aid when it is offered. My former chieftain Strider may say the distrust of such folk does not bother him, but if that is true, he is a better man than I am. A pained look crosses Menelder's face. That is true for many reasons, Sepulchre. I have not called the Dunedain my kin for some time now, but I would never question Strider's integrity or his courage. But look here, the Uruk that led this band has something in his hand. See if you can't wrest it from his grip. You wrest a scrap of parchment from the Uruk's death grip. Gurnarpakat, Turkul Dalgum, Gurnargzabat, Qatar. Wondered what that would be.
Let's see if this parchment holds any clues for us.
Menelder briefly studies the crumpled parchment, but then he looks up, disappointed. I cannot read much of this. If this were an ordinary day, I would be grateful to have no reason to understand the black speech. But on this day, it is a cause for frustration. Hold, Sepulchre. What has happened to this Uruk's blade? It did not fall far from his body, unless my eyes were somehow deceived. You hear the shouts and excited yelling of children to the northwest. Let's go have a look.
It is so much better than the wooden sword I was using before. I found it, and it belongs to me now. My father says that when you're in a battle, you get to keep the spoils, and I stood up to those Uruks even when the town guard wouldn't. If anyone should get to keep that Uruk's blade, it's me. Well, wait a moment. You're an adventurer, right? If you promise to help train me in the adventuring arts, maybe I'll give you the sword. I'm not saying I will, you understand? I'm saying maybe. It'll depend on how good your training is. So what's my first lesson, stranger? What's the first thing I need to know to become an adventurer?
Tegwin considers the defeat circle. So what is this? He asks you. You explain that adventuring is dangerous work, and sooner or later your morale is likely to run out. When that happens, you will find yourself at one of the many defeat circles scattered around the land.
Very funny, stranger. I know that fighting is dangerous. That's why I will try not to fight enemies that look to be beyond my capabilities. But sometimes it's unavoidable, I suppose. And when that happens, if I'm defeated, I'll find myself at the nearest defeat circle to where I fell in battle. Where next?
Tegwin asks you.
Scardy spends more time fixing horseshoes than he does forging swords. I mean no insult, Scardy, but it's true. What use does an adventurer have with a shop like this?
You explain that as an adventurer engages in combat, equipped weapons and armor sustain durability damage, and folks such as Scardy Benblade are able to repair them so you can keep using them. Additionally, shopkeepers throughout Middle-earth can sell an adventurer all sorts of items and equipment that will aid you in your journeys. Scardy clears his throat and speaks up.
That all costs coin, young Tegwin. Horseshoes and swords alike. But if that raid is a sign of things to come, I think the swords might become more in demand than they have been until now.
Equipment is important, Tegwin admits.
But I want to hit something. Now this is more like it. Well, I'm ready for you to show off your combat skills, and if you impress me, I'll give up this Uruk sword. It had better be a good demonstration, or the bargain is done.
You explain that captains rely on their battle shout to put them into a battle-readied state. Tegwin nods.
Interesting. Well, let's see it. That's what this training dummy is for, after all.
was all right, I guess.
But surely you have more powerful attacks at your disposal. You explain that a captain can follow their battle shouts with even more powerful attacks, such as Devastating Blow.
Wow, I want to see that.
That was a decent show, I suppose. Tegwin struggles to suppress any show of excitement.
One more! Show me one more skill of yours, and make it incredible!
Elendil's roar. Tegwin reluctantly hands us his blade. Time to bring the Uruk blade to Meneldir by the east gate of Mossward.
You recovered the Uruk blade from Tegwin before he hurt himself. Very well done.
Meneldir gets a faraway look in his eye and gazes over the surrounding wall of Mossward. I remember being that age and dreaming only of adventure, of excitement. I was not so very different from young Tegwin when I was a boy growing up in the angle of Mythithel, where my people dwell. I do not judge him harshly for taking the sword, and I hope you will not either. His parents busy themselves with the work of fortifying Mossward's defenses, and I dare say they remain unaware of the boy's mischief. I will not tell them if you do not, Sepcapi. I've been away from the land that was my home for many years now, Sepcapi. I was once of the Dunedain, my friend, the Rangers of the North, and one of their several charges was to safeguard these lands and their peoples from harm. Their other duties, well, they are likely as far away as they have always been, and not my concern any longer. I will not speak of those today, but a peaceful village has been attacked and some of its people slain. Will you help me replenish my supplies of the healing herb called Kingsfoil, and defeat any of the creatures nearby that may threaten Mossward? You will know Kingsfoil by its sweet smell and the feel of its leaves. Look for it on the rolling hills to the east of the village. This small leafy plant could be mistaken for a simple weed by the untrained eye, but to Meneldir it is a healing herb of unique and beneficial properties. Thank you for the Kingsfoil, and for helping dissuade some of the more aggressive creatures from straying too near the village. Against such beasts, Alarion, Bevan, and the others of the guard are more than a match, but against Uruks I fear they will be outclassed. The question now is whether Madthrug's band was alone, or if there are others of his kind waiting for their next chance to strike. Mossward is not the only village in Swanfleet, Sepcapi. Can I ask you to check on the stewards who live nearby? Visit the stablemaster here in the village for a quick means of traveling to the village of Clegger in the Stourvales. They should be told what happened in Mossward, and guard themselves against possible attack. The stablemaster is to the southwest, and provides efficient travel options for reaching distant lands.
Welcome to Clegor. Finest of the villages to be found in the Stourvales.
May I ask the reason for your visit?
You explain that the village of Mossward was recently attacked by a raiding party consisting of goblins and Uruks, and the Ranger Meneldir fears other similar bands may endanger the villages of the Stourvales.
Oh my! Are you certain? We have not had such troubles for, well, longer than I can remember, that's for sure. Who would threaten the stores? The mayor must be told of this, even if the very idea is preposterous. It's not that I don't believe you, it's just that folk here have lived peacefully for so long. We keep to ourselves, and we like it that way. Climb up the path to the south and tell the mayor what you told me. Malmadog will know what to do about this, if anything must be done.
What's that? Goblins and Uruks?
Ordinarily, I would say you are spinning tall tales and send you on your way without supper. But there was a good deal of excitement in the night a few hours past. Some of the hunters we sent out never came back. I am worried about them, but I am even more concerned that without the meat they were supposed to bring back, our food stocks will be thinner than planned. You don't need me to tell you that autumn can turn to winter quite unexpectedly, no matter how pleasant the mornings or afternoons might seem, and he who does not plan for the night will find himself hungry by morning. I will consider what you have told me, but I will consider it more quickly if you bring back some choice cuts of meat from the beasts of the Stoorvales. Bring them to Cunida Maltgig, our butcher, at his shop down the hill.
Choice indeed.
Well done, my friend. I will get to salting and preserving these meats right away. You are always welcome to help out in the Stoorvales. I will tell my neighbors what a help you've been today. They might not appreciate it immediately, but they will when winter comes and their bellies are full rather than empty.
I should have warned you that the folk in Swanfleet will often put you to work.
Subcappy. It comes with the territory, you might say. So the mayor of Clegor is waiting for the overdue return of some of his hunters. I hope they did not run afoul of a raiding party like the one that attacked Nosward. I will take a look around and see what I can discover. Perhaps you can check in on the situation in the other two villages in the Stoorvales. Someone in Glen Helag or Lintrev may have seen something.
Uruks and goblins! You can't be serious!
The Stoorvales are peaceful, and the quiet is only occasionally disturbed by the howling of wolves and the carryings-on of our neighbors in Glen Helag, of which I assure you, we do not approve. But you did not hear that from me. We're like one big happy family in the Stoorvales, and all three villages get along quite famously. Neris lowers her voice. But if I was pressed to put the villages in a sort of order, I would place Lintrev at the top, followed by Clegor. It would be Glen Helag that brought up the rear. Still, I would not wish goblins or Uruks upon any of my fellow Stoors. Not really.
Goblins and Uruks? Oh, you must be mistaken.
Any such creatures around here would be the talk of the town for months and months, if not years. Someone would have said something if such villains as that were prowling about. We Stoors are a rough and tumble folk, friend. We're not afeard of much. That's the way it should be. We don't frighten easily, unlike some others I might name. But I shan't, for we also believe in being polite. Derval lowers his voice. Not like the Stoors of Lintrev. But you didn't hear that from me. Time to head back to Clegor. I will not say you were right, but, well, let it be known that mayors are never to be embarrassed, especially not in their own village, and the word of an outsider must always be judged with a grain or two of salt. This is all to say, one of the hunters has returned, and his tale is most peculiar. You had better hear it from him. All right, I will.
There are Uruks about, stranger.
Me and Drusy Begwill were out in the brush, lying in wait for one of the boars of the Stoorvales to stray within reach of our bows, when we saw one of the vile creatures lurking about. Well, we changed our choice of target right then and there. Not for eating, you understand. Perish the thought. But we caught him. We caught ourselves an Uruk, and now we need to decide what to do with him. But if you and this ranger are up to it, I could lead the two of you back to the prisoner. It's not that far. What do you say? Let's do it.
We had better follow him to his captive, and quickly.
The Stoors are a hardy folk, but I fear the harm an Uruk warrior might do, though he be their captive.
Lead on, Flan. Where does your friend hold captive this Uruk?
It's not far now. Just a quick jog up the hill. Sorry about the chill in the air, friends, but we're almost there. This way. Follow me. And no dawdling. Wait. Do you hear that? What good fortune! Boar steaks will serve us well for the winter.
You are supposed to be bringing us to your captive, Flam.
Oh, yes, yes. This way. Drusy, how fares the captive? He's fine. He knows not to try anything. But more importantly, did you see those boars? They ran right past here, and I would have loosed some arrows at them, but I did not want to take my attention off the captive. They were big, though. There'd have been meat enough on those bones to prepare quite a few boar meat steaks for the folk of Clegor. Tell me that you saw them, and that Flam was quick enough with his bow or his knife to get them. You are sure, Drusy, that the boar meat can be brought back to the village when you are done here, but perhaps there are more pressing matters at hand. More pressing? She asks. I suppose, but still, those boars really were something, and it would be a shame to let so many potential dinners escape without at least trying.
When I get free of these rats, I'll make you pay. You'll wish you never crossed. Ushtul. You have no idea what's coming for you, for all of you.
Why did you come to Swanfleet?
The fighting Urukai go where they please. Nowhere is safe for you.
I think you will find you are wrong about that, creature.
Is that so? My boys have their orders, but once that's done, I think they'll want to stay. There's good eating to be had in this valley. Plenty of vermin.
How dare you!
Wait, something approaches. Ready yourselves, friends!
I thought you'd never hear them. Come get me, boys!
I think these newcomers must be here to rescue our captives, Sepcapi. Let us show them they have erred, and badly. We will not let him go without a fight.
Oh my, I think our captive is dying. What a pity.
This is an Uruk arrow. He dies by the deeds of his own kind. They were not here to rescue him at all.
This changes nothing. You will die even more painfully than I.
Ushtul visibly gathers his strength, hatred flaring in his eyes.
Hear me, all of you. Hear the words of Ushtul. You will die at the hands of the Urukai. Sharkul has made us a mighty force.
Sharku, this is your leader.
I hope he is stronger than you prove to be.
I am not frightened of your kind, Ushtul. I am...
Sharkul. Saruman.
Saruman? Why would he speak the name of the White Wizard? What did he mean by that?
Thank you for aiding my folk. It reflects well upon you, and upon me.
It reflects well upon you that you were willing to help the people of the Stoorvales in this, and it reflects well upon me that I called upon your assistance. That's the mark of a good mayor, you know, selecting the right person for the job at hand. I have had little to do with wizards, but I can tell from your friend's expression that these tidings of Saruman can mean nothing good. Perhaps this gift will help speed you on your way to combat this new and unpleasant development.
Why does your ranger friend just stand there, like a lump on a log?
Speak up, man! What has gotten into him? I cannot believe this, Sepkapi. Can it be true that Saruman commanded these Uruks to attack the folk of Swanfleet? Why would the wizard wish to do harm to the folk of Mossward? He has ever been a watchful protector of Middle-earth. What can have changed? It must be a lie. There can be no other explanation. Let us return to Mossward and see how the people there fare in our absence. I cannot believe Saruman is capable of such treachery. There must be something else to blame for the orc presence in these lands. We need more weapons! Gather all you can find!
We won't be caught off guard again.
If goblins and Uruks seek to raid our village again, we will make them pay a heavy price for it. Scardy Benblade has been working to supply us with arms and armor, Sepkapi, so we will be prepared if another raiding party comes to Mossward. Will you bring us another barrel of the weapons he has fashioned for us? I will then distribute them to the people of the village. Right, these must be the weapons. If the Uruks come back, we have to be ready. Cardolan means well, and the folk of Mossward will fight to defend their homes from goblins and Uruks and anything else that threatens them. But against wizards, I do not think they will have a very high chance of survival. I will tell you what I know of the three wizards, Sepkapi, and I will let you judge our chances. Mineldir sighs heavily. I have always understood Saruman the White to be the most learned of the wizards, and the greatest of their order. It is said he was sent here by the powers to guide and instruct those who dwell within Middle-earth. At Isengard he lives, in a great tower built by the Númenóreans, Orthanc it is called, and I have heard it contains a trove of knowledge and learning unmatched by that of any king or scholar. Can it be that Saruman no longer seeks to protect the free peoples of Middle-earth? I cannot believe this is so. Mineldir shakes his head. I know little about Gandalf the Grey. They say he walks the land with the aid of an old walking stick, pipe smoke curling about the tall hat he wears, but I have never seen him. I believe he must keep to himself, choosing not to become involved in the matters of the day. My former chieftain Strider knew him, and believed him to be a kindly soul. I have never known my chieftain to judge someone wrongly, and if he had, it was not his fault but another's. Still, I would not have believed any of the wizards could become corrupted either. Mineldir rubs his temple, deep in thought. Of all the three wizards, I have only met this one in person. Radagast the Brown, master of shapes and hues, and friend to all good-hearted beasts and birds. He wanders the wild places, secret lands known only to creatures of fur and feather, and I suppose known to some of my kin among the Dunedain as well. He seemed a jovial chap to me when I met him. I cannot believe he would turn against us. I don't know, Sepcapi. If the aims of the three wizards have changed, if they have been corrupted by evil, all of the free peoples of Middle-earth may be endangered. This much we know for certain. The Uruks that have come to Swanfleet believe they do so at Saruman's command. That means the White Wizard cannot be trusted. Menelder falls silent. We are being observed, Sepcapi. Someone listens to our conversation.
What? I didn't hear anything I wasn't supposed to hear. You told me that an adventurer is supposed to remain watchful for the needs of all good folk. And how can I do that if I don't keep my eyes and ears open? All right. Maybe you didn't say exactly that, but I'm sure it's true all the same. If a wizard is sending goblins and Uruks to attack Mossward, shouldn't we know about it? You tell Tegwin that the best way he can help the people of his village is to keep their spirits up and to help them prepare the defenses. Okay, I'll do what I can, but I'll have you know I expect to be given more dangerous quests in the days ahead. I am an adventurer now, after all, and you and Menelder are going to need all the help you can get, especially if we're up against wizards and their lackeys. I think you handled that pretty well, my friend. Better than I would have had, at any rate. I've never had much patience for children. I plan to search further afield for some clue to Saruman's purpose. Why would he send goblins and Uruks to attack Mossward? I can't understand it. Will you travel to the east, where the road from Enedwaith enters Swanfleet? The raiding party may have come from there, and left behind some trace of their passage. I will see you again when we have both returned. Dead Uruks lie on the road where it enters Swanfleet from Enedwaith. This Uruk was slain by a sword much like the one he carried. Some of the Uruks abandoned their blades on the road through Swanfleet, but not by choice. They were parted from their weapons only when their lives ended.
Interesting tidings.
It sounds to me as if the Uruks quarreled among themselves after they arrived in Swanfleet. But for what purpose? The warband may have been much larger when it traveled from Enedwaith, and divided into 2 or more raiding parties when it crossed into Swanfleet. Perhaps the decision to attack Mossward was made not by the wizard, but by the Uruks themselves. It is curious. As for the swords you collected, perhaps Skardi can melt them down and put them to better use than their former bearers. Well, we'll go see.
More Uruk blades? I didn't ask for these.
Well, Menelder is right, I suppose. I'll melt them down and turn them into arms for the defense of Mossward. No one will want to use them as they are now, but metal is metal, in my experience. I could use a number of items to restock my supplies while you continue looking into the matter of the raiding party, Sepcapi. Sharp stones, boar tusks, and carbon talons. And do you think you could do something about Tegwin? He's been bothering me with questions since this morning, and I need to get this work done.
As you wish.
I'm ready for a more important adventuring task, Sepcapi. What can I do to help the village? Can I come with you?
reluctant to send the boy into danger, you ask that he patrol the outer palisade of Mossward.
Okay, I guess I can do that. Maybe I can accompany you later?
Thank you for these items, Sepcapi, but I'll have you know this. I'm quite cross with you. All I want is to be left in peace, free to do my work, but folk are constantly barging in here, interrupting me and slowing down my work. That boy's mother was just here, Wayna, and she says he hasn't returned home. Last I heard, you sent him to scout the edge of town, so you get to go looking for him. You send him back to his parents before they come bothering me again, will you?
As you wish. Footprints trample the earth here on the outskirts of Mossward. Uruk footprints in the soft mud lead away from the village. The footprints are old, most likely made during the Uruk attack on Mossward.
Takeaway is missing.
It would not be the first time the boy has gone looking for trouble, but with Uruks and goblins about, he might have gotten in over his head this time. If he goes that way, he is likely to blunder into the Wade water. Children of the village are forbidden from going there, but I will not seek to tell you that it has prevented the more adventurous sorts from exploring that marsh. If Tegwin tried tracking the Uruks there, well, there are plenty of dangers in the Wade water to begin with, let alone our recent troubles. You should follow the road northeast to the Dunlending town of Langaran. It sits on the eastern side of the Wade water, and their scouts may have seen the boy. Perhaps he went to speak with the Dunlending villagers there, and is even now enjoying their hospitality or their tales. We should not leap to judgment too soon. He may be in no danger at all. I hope you're right. We can now see Langaran in the distance. Perhaps we will find Tegwin there.
Our envoy to Mossward sent you our way? Good, good. If you're looking for work, you've come to the right place. Our community is a new one, and there's too much to do.
I heard Tegwin has gone missing.
With Uruks and Swanfleet, I felt it wisest to begin the search as soon as possible. That said, if he has truly made for the Wadewater, I think Uruks may be the least of his problems. The footing there is unsteady, and like any marshland, the depth of the pools may be deceptive. There are creatures in the Wadewater that would love nothing more than to make a supper of anyone who strays too near their domain. The most dangerous of these are the Avank, and we should hunt them as we seek the boy. Oof.
No sign of Tegwin. I have seen nothing either.
I was trained in the art of tracking, but this marshland has put my skills to the test. Let us listen for some sound of the boy. We must use all of our senses on this hunt. You hear the sounds of life in the marsh, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing. Let us continue our search.
Further to the west. A worn wooden sword stands in the mud. This certainly appears to be Tegwin's sword, abandoned in the Wadewater.
This does seem to be Tegwin's sword.
That is not a good sign, Sepcapi. Let us listen once again, and hope this time we hear something. He may not have much time left. You hear very faintly someone calling for you to the northwest. You found Tegwin in the Wadewater.
I'm here. I'm here.
Your adventuring lessons were not complete. You didn't mention how cold and damp it would be, or how often things would be trying to kill me. I stayed away from the Avank because I'm no fool, but even the turtles here tried to snap at me. Still, it was quite an adventure, for my very first. If you're planning to scold me, you can forget about it, because I learned something important. I know where the Uruks are going.
You would have been very proud of me. I'm certain of it.
I hid in the brush and didn't move an inch, and the scouting party of Uruks came within a dozen feet of me. They didn't see me, but I overheard them talking about the old elf city to the northeast. That's where they're going. It sounds like that's where they wanted to go all along, and they're planning to join up with a bunch more of their cronies when they get there. It's a good thing I went exploring, isn't it? Maybe you'll tell my parents I did the right thing?
Well, we'll see about that.
The old elf city. That must be Cardolan.
It is located on a hill to the east. And last I heard, one of my former kinsmen set up a camp not far from there. His name is Dundil. If Tegwin speaks true, he should be warned the Uruks possess some design upon the city. I will bring the boy back to Mosward, and join you at Dundil's camp when Tegwin is safely returned to his parents. Scout the elf city with Dundil's help, but do not get too close without me. We do not yet know what the Uruks seek. I believed they were simply raiders, but if they do Saruman's bidding in this land, there must be something else.
You say you bring word from Manel, dear?
I have not spoken with him since he left us, disgraced by the breaking of his oath. We were friends once, and grew up together in Tornhad, but he proved faithless. I am surprised by only this, that he has not turned brigand, as we all assumed. Perhaps this as well, that he sends you with a message of warning. What cares he for the folk of this land, or any other? Still, the message you bring arrives late. We have been watching Uruks move behind the walls of Cardolan for several days now. They are looking for something, but what that might be, we have yet to discover. I encourage you to climb the sloping path to the southeast that leads up to the ruins. Perhaps you will find something we have not. This slope leads upward to the ruins of the city, already full of enemies. The bodies of 2 Uruks lie here in the grass. The arrows responsible for the death of this Uruk remain in the corpse, and their brightly colored fletching reveals them to be of fine elf make. You pull an arrow from the Uruk's back. The arrow is of fine elf make. You retrieve an elf arrow from the other corpse, and hear someone calling you.
Those are my arrows. Return them to me, and I can slay more Uruks.
I think that is in everyone's interest, is it not?
I am pleased to see we share a purpose. Or at least we have our hatred of orc kind in common.
My name is Bregoleth. I came from distant Imladris on a journey of my own, but hearing of Uruks abroad in Eregion caused me to divert my steps. Now I slay the creatures wherever I find them, and will bring word of what I have seen back to Elrond when I know more. You tell Brugoleth that the Uruks speak of the wizard Saruman as if he is their master. That is most concerning, but a dead Uruk serves no master. Let us call the creatures that stalk the ruins of Caraskelebren, and afterward we can discuss if they spoke truth or falsehood. As you wish. Seems like we have an Uruk report that we have collected. Brugoleth will want to see this. It looks like it is in the Black Speech.
Slaying Uruks may be its own reward, but finding a clue to their purpose here is even better.
I understand you found a report on one of the creatures. You hand the parchment to Brugoleth, and she studies it intently. It gives me no joy to read the Black Speech, but it is much worse to speak than it is to read. Here is what this report says in a language that does not cruelly twist my tongue. Warriors, scout the old forges in Hollin. Find relics of elvish jewelcraft. I want not worthless trash. I desire lore. The elves made rings there. I wish to find their lost artisan knowledge. Brugoleth looks up at you. This is worse than I expected, Sepcapi. For some unfathomable purpose, Saruman the White has betrayed us. He seeks the ring lore of Eregion, and he has sent these Uruks to obtain it.
The elves of Eregion were deceived before by gifts and promises of secret knowledge.
It was a lesson hard learned, but I have spent these many years believing this to be true. We learned it well. Indeed, I say we, for I dwelt at Celebrimbor's city in those days. It was a grand site of art and learning, its wide green lawns and smooth-stoned lanes to be found on both sides of the river. Mirable it was, the jewel town, and Caraskelebren, the silver bastion. It was a welcoming place. Too welcoming. Brugoleth gazes at you steadily. I ask you to return to the city above and see the state of it. There may be artifacts within we should keep from the Uruks and from their master, whether he be a wizard or no. I will examine whatever you find and judge if there is still danger for the elves among the bones of Celebrimbor's citadel, or only grief still to be found. A fine spiderweb of cracks renders this plate unusable, but it remains a relic of years long past. The once majestic columns of Caraskelebren are now broken and in disrepair. This hammer, worn with age, nearly falls apart in your hand. This once proud statue of Celebrimbor now lies half buried in the earth. This small pouch now contains only dust and splinters of rock. None of the lamps that illuminated Carasgalebren by night remain standing.
These are sad reminders of times long past.
But they are surely not what Saruman seeks in this place. In my heart I know for what he searches. It is ring lore he desires, the same knowledge with which the builder of this city was ensnared. If he finds it, I fear he could work great evil upon the lands and peoples of Middle-earth. Bregaleth gazes at the horizon, obscured by distant fog. From the hilltop above, you hear the harsh calls of orc kind, even over the wind. After a moment, the elf warrior turns back to you.
After the fall of Baleriond, most of my people came to live in the land of Lindon to the west.
Under the benevolent rule of Gil-galad, bonds of friendship were made with the dwarves of Ered Luin, but a thriving trade in metal and gems with that people dwindled as the Longbeard suffered war and disaster of their own. Yearning for mithril to fashion into their works of art and beauty, many of the Noldor followed the dwarves as they journeyed eastward. Led by Celebrimbor, descendant of Feanor, the elves settled in the holly-covered hills beneath the west gate of Khazad-dûm. There was once again friendship and trade between elf and dwarf, and Celebrimbor's city in Eregion thrived. Eregion was still a young kingdom when the men of Númenor arrived. Tar Aldarion, the king, sailed up the river Gwathlo and debarked to explore Swanfleet on foot. He befriended Celebrimbor and forged alliances with the elfsmiths, and in return, they taught some among his people techniques of armor shaping and the graving of Ithildin and moon runes. In time, Aldarion grew old and came no more to Carasgalebren, but the friendship between his people and mine endured. The friendship endured, but it was tested. The Númenóreans were a seafaring people, and they had long exhausted the forests of their island home. They hungered for timber to build more and mightier ships. The Lady Galadriel, who dwelt for a time in Eregion and often danced alongside the lily-covered waterways, despaired to see the toll taken upon the wide woodlands by Númenórean axes. When the shipbuilders began to dredge her beloved Swanfleet and build dikes to channel the waters, she entreated Celebrimbor to stop the men of Númenor from harming the land.
It pained Celebrimbor to see the woods and fens so ill-treated, but he did not want to harm his alliance with the men of Númenor.
He consoled them to take greater care of the land, but his words were not heeded. Galadriel's sorrow became too great, and she turned her attention to Lorelindorinan and other distant lands. Celebrimbor gave up the woods as lost, turning all his attention and skill toward mastering his craft. Together, Celebrimbor and his fellowship of jewel-smiths became the most renowned workers of riches in all of Middle-earth. If they could not halt the slow degradation of the land's beauty, they would at least seek to supplement and preserve it through their craft. And so they were ensnared.
I can still see this city as it was during the height of its beauty. So much was lost.
The Silver Bastion became a shining jewel itself, a beacon of art and music and culture that drew the attention and the love of many from distant lands. Carasgalebren and Mirobel became places of such beauty they recalled the fabled elf halls of old, and trade with Lindon thrived. But not all who watched this from afar watched with friendly eyes. In the land of Mordor, to which he fled following the defeat of his master Morgoth, Sauron seethed. He feared the rising might of Numenor, and despite having drawn orcs and other fell creatures to his service, he knew he did not possess the overwhelming numbers with which his master had dominated the world in past days of triumph. He devised a scheme by which he would use his enemies' weaknesses against them. And so he came to Eregion in fair disguise, masking his true nature.
He called himself Antheron.
Word of your craft skill has spread far and wide, my lord Celebrimbor. Even into the uttermost west. I am humbled by your presence here, Antheron. I see in your arrival an omen of good fortune. Accept my greetings and my welcome. You will be my honored guest. Antheron had gone first to Lindon, but Gil-galad mistrusted him and refused to treat with a strange newcomer. It was in Caraskelebrin that the Lord of Gifts found one whose lineage and whose hunger for secret knowledge made him the perfect target for Antheron's promises. Celebrimbor could not resist, and before long the new arrival became a mentor to him and to the jewelsmiths of Eregion. I cannot say why I am so disquieted, Oren Orel. I share your unease, my lord. The bright company will go wherever you lead. Show us this threat, and we will end it. But that is the heart of the problem, my friend. What is the threat? Though Galadriel had gone, Celeborn remained at Caraskelebrin. As Eregion's chief defender, he refused to abandon these lands, and sought instead to protect them against the stranger who had seized Celebrimbor's ear. Antheron hated the Bright Company and its deeds, and summoned one threat after another to trouble them. Celeborn and his warriors were often drawn away from the city, and many a noble elf was slain in these engagements. But still the Lord of the Bright Company could not connect these rising threats with the newcomer, Antheron, and his two ready smiles.
Despite the mistrust of some at Celebrimbor's city, Antheron did not remain idle. He gathered to himself promising students and gave to them secret knowledge. But whatever he taught them, always he held something in reserve. Always there was more to be learned, more instruction to be given.
How will we know we have mastered what thou hast taught us? The most promising among you will know, Narmaleth. The students were not his only pupils. As the years passed, Antheron grew more and more brazen. Celebrimbor and his jewelsmiths fell further beneath his thumb, ensnared by his promises of secret knowledge and the working of crafts, both beautiful and powerful. The Jewel Town and the Silver Bastion thrived, and the glory of Celebrimbor and his jewelsmiths only increased, year after year. But the true masterpiece of Caraskelebrin was its ring forge.
Antheron convinced the jewelsmith to forge great rings of power. Long they toiled, until at last their work was complete.
A set of 7 and a set of 9. You are certain these great rings will help preserve the land? They will help protect the lands of those who wear them, my lord. Give them to the hole diggers and the fellers of trees. The degradations they cause will be slowed. I called your arrival an omen of good fortune, Lord of Gifts. And yet, I undervalued the help you would provide. I serve the powers, my lord. As do I, in all things. Celebrimbor gave to the kings of dwarves and men the rings he had made, and for a time he knew peace, not knowing he had been deceived, not knowing that what he had done would nearly undo the world. Shortly afterwards, Antheron departed. He would return to Eregion only once more, and when he did, he would bring death and destruction with him. But after he was gone, Celebrimbor began to doubt. In time, suspicion awakened in his heart, and he began to worry that Antheron had ensnared him by his own greed in some devious scheme. He decided to use the art he had learned to forge 3 more great rings, unknown to the treacherous Lord of Gifts. He believed he and his kinfolk could use these 3 rings for protection, should matters go ill. Antheron returned to Mordor, and in the heart of his kingdom he cast aside his fair guise. He had no more need for deception. In Mordor, the Dark Lord Sauron sought the fulfillment of the scheme for which he had planned, walking unnoticed among his hated enemies for so many years.
You go on ahead. My words will guide you, but I go no further than this. In the fiery heat of Orodruin, Mount Doom, Sauron forged the ruling ring. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to bind them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie, Celebrimbor had kept 1 of the 3 for his own.
At the moment that Sauron placed the ruling ring on his own finger, Celebrimbor knew his danger. He removed his ring and vowed to never wear it again, lest his mind be dominated by the Dark Lord. Those of the jewelsmiths who had similarly kept rings were made to give them up, sometimes by force, and the 3 rings were sent in secret to hidden bearers. Messages were sent to men, dwarves, and elves in which Celebrimbor admitted his folly and warned of the coming war. So were the folk made ready to defend Middle-earth, but it would not be enough to save Eregion from the ravages of Sauron. The gates of Mordor opened, and the armies of Sauron came forth. He would seize as many of the rings of power as he could find, but the 3 remained hidden to him, and he touched them not. An elder has returned from his errand to Mossward.
The gates of Mordor? The armies of Sauron? What did I miss?
Surely it is not as bad as all that. Sauron has been dead for 3,000 years, and today Mordor is an empty land. An elder squints at Bregoleth. Sometimes elves have trouble marking the passage of the years. I mean no offense. And while I was unable to coax a promise not to venture again into the wild, his parents gave him enough chores to keep him occupied, at least until adulthood, at which point I think our obligation to keep him safe must surely lapse. I swore no oath to the farmers of Swanfleet. Menelder studies your expression and sighs heavily. Dwendil did not speak kindly of me, did he? I am not surprised, Sepcapi. In my heart, I still hold the cause of the Dunedain most dear. But I understand my folk may not believe it, and I cannot deny the breaking of my oath. But who is your new friend? If she hates the Uruks as we do, and is willing to aid us, perhaps she can help us track down several of their leaders. Rumor of 3 such villains has preceded me here, and I cannot help but think the work would go more quickly if we were to split up, each of us to deal with one.
I have hated Orkkind for much longer than you have been alive, Dunedain.
As for the oaths you have taken or broken, I know he to whom you are sworn, or should be. I know what he desires to become. Ask not if I will help you, Ranger of the North. Ask instead if you are strong enough and courageous enough to lend any assistance to Bregoleth of Imladris, of which she could have any need. Bregoleth smirks at Menelder, an amused light dancing in her eye. The ranger stares back, his mouth open. I will slay one of your Uruk leaders, Menelder, and Sepcapi will slay another. Can you be trusted to deal with the third? Show their locations to us on the man's map, and we will see it done. Afterwards, we can meet at Idhobel, a camp of my people to the north of here. Zagvar bellows a challenge and attacks. The defeat of Zagvar lowered the tenacity of Uruks under his command.
You had success? Those are good tidings.
But it means Saruman now has 3 fewer war leaders commanding his forces in the area. I spoke with Bregoleth while we waited for you to return, and she says there is one more location she wants us to investigate. But soon our time together will be ended. Each of us must bring word of Saruman's designs to our chieftains, where they must soon ripen and spell doom for Middle-earth.
Menelder is right. I must soon return to Imladris with these grim tidings.
Winter is approaching, and I must tell Elrond the winds will blow chill indeed if the wizards have turned against us. Saruman's hand stretches forth to seize dangerous knowledge from the ruins of Eregion, and if the White Hand grasps it, who can tell what evils he might next think to accomplish?
My people fled north after Karas Galebran was destroyed by Sauron, and his armies pursued them.
The tale of those who stood in his path and fell defying him is elsewhere told. But the defenders of one such place lasted a little longer than many others. At Dam Kelakir, the Hall of the Swift River, Sauron found his conquest bitterly bought. On a hill to the north, its wreckage still stands. If the Uruks expect to find Ringlor there, they will be disappointed, I think. But that ruin is the last resting place of many great king. Did they bring artifacts of power with them during their retreat? I cannot say for certain. but we should make sure little remains of which Saruman or his warriors might make use. After you have done this, return here to Idhobel. I think then we must part. You find a short knife of elf make buried within the debris pile.
You found Uruks at the hole of the Swift River, I do not doubt it. But did you find aught else?
You hand Bregaleth the elf knife you unearthed from the debris at Dam Kelagir. She blows dust from the hilt and wipes the blade clean. Unless I am very much mistaken, this is a dagger of the Bright Company, Sepcapi. Many were their glorious deeds in the ages past, and long did they fight against Sauron and his minions. Were it not for such worthies as Celeborn and Glorfindel, who survived the war, or heroic Olran-Oril, who did not, the rout of Eregion might have been even worse. I will bring this dagger to Imladris, where it can be kept in a place of honor. If it truly is a weapon of the Bright Company, it is fitting for it to come to rest within the place of refuge for which its wielder fought, and likely died.
And so I will bid farewell to you and the Ranger Meneldir, for I must bring this warning to Imladris.
The wizard Saruman has sent Uruk warbands to the ruins of Eregion and Swanfleet, seeking ring lore. What he desires to do with it, Lord Elrond will know better than I, but surely it can mean nothing good. I believed we had learned the danger of such craft, but perhaps it was not so. I fear we are on the very precipice of danger, Sepcapi. I wish you and Meneldir good fortune on your journeys, wherever they may take each of you. But I also have a warning of my own to give. I bid you exercise caution on the road, and do not trust others too readily. These are days I would never have expected to see, and yet all around me I see signs of the deepening shadow. It may be that servants of Sauron, or those of an enemy we cannot yet perceive, work to undo all the good that has been achieved in these lands. Farewell. Perhaps we will meet again on a more sunny day, when these cares and worries have been set aside.
I will take Bregaleth's warning to heart, and you should as well.
To that end, might I suggest that we travel one road, rather than two, Sepcapi? I must bring word to the chieftain of the Dunedain of the danger posed by Saruman and his Uruk-hai. He will not greet me warmly, and I know not where he will be found. But this warning must be delivered all the same. I suggest we make for the ruins of Old Cardolan, and consult with a friend of mine who lives among them, Narndir by name. He did not cast aside our friendship when I left. He will know where to find the Dunedain we seek. I would appreciate your company on the road. After I have delivered my message, I will leave you at the finest tavern I have ever known, the Inn of the Prancing Pony, in Breetown. From there you will surely find a path to whatever adventures you might wish. What say you, my friend? If this course seems good to you, I recommend that we return to Mossward to restock and resupply. Let us put Scardy Benblade to work once more before we depart Swanfleet and travel north to deliver our warning. Seems like a good plan. I do have a few things I need to tie up here before I depart, but I will meet you there when I can. Scardy gives you a gruff greeting as you enter his shop.
I did not think you would return to Mossward so quickly.
It just so happens that Geralt and Wenna came by a short time ago, and they asked me to prepare some equipment to give to you in the event you returned. Seems they wanted to give you a reward for looking after their boy, Tegwin. They arranged to pay for it, so who am I to argue? They have so far kept the lad from bothering me as often as he used to, which is nearly payment enough, if you ask me. Nearly, I said. Peace of mind doesn't put food on the table. But luckily for you, coin does. So you pick whatever you like, no cost to you.
So where does your road now lead? Old Cardolan, you say?
Yes, it seems that way.
Scardy strokes his beard.
There's not a lot there, as I understand it. To hear Meneldir talk, you'd think it was a great kingdom. But that was a long time ago. Claimed by war, and plague it was, apparently. And now it's remembered mainly by rangers and by scholars, and by those with the misfortune to hear them go on about it. I'll not stop you, but if you're going that way, you'll need to cross the river at Tharbad. The bridge there is out, and the crossing will not be pleasant. Enjoy yourself, Sepcapi. I will stay here in my shop, where it is warm and dry.
Scardy is right. If we are to reach Cardolan, we will need to cross the River Gwathlo at Tharbad.
When the Númenóreans built the city, its great bridge provided a valuable link to Gondor, and trade with the Southlands flourished. But in time, the kingdom of Arnor diminished, and Tharbad was abandoned. The South Road became less traveled than in previous days. Masonry crumbled over the years, and parts of the city fell into the river. The great thaw that followed the fell winter released the floodwaters, and portions of the mighty bridge were lost for good. But folk crossed the river at Tharbad before the bridge was built, and it should remain possible even now that the bridge is gone. We will travel northwest to Tharbad and see for ourselves, Sepcapi. Let us meet in the shadow of the broken bridge on the southern bank. As you wish.
Hold, strangers. Be you friend or foe to Rohan?
I'm afraid I cannot tell from your mien. Are you a friend to Rohan and to its people? You assure the woman that you and Meneldir do not seek to cause trouble for any good folk, and that you merely seek to cross the river on your way north. The woman thinks for a moment, and then nods. She turns her eye upon Meneldir. Do not think this question too forward, but I must ask it. You are dressed as I was told the Dunedain Rangers dress, well suited for a life in the wilderness of the inhospitable north. Are you one of this kind? For they are the folk I seek, and my errand is urgent.
Your question is not an easy one for me to answer.
Let us say I was once of that folk, but if need drives you to seek the Dunedain, your search is not at an end. Yet our purposes may align, for Sepcapi and I also seek the Rangers of the North. Meneldir turns his gaze upon the tumultuous river. Each of our paths requires we ford the Gwathlo, the River Greyflood, and it will not be easy. I fear the raging waters will be too much in places for your steed to safely cross, and it appears orcs watch the shallows. I only know of the Rohirrim from tales, but I do know they are loath to part with their horses, unless at great need. If such is the need that drives you, I would know your name, and perhaps you will tell us of your errand on the far bank. If not, I would bid you farewell, for Sepcapi and I can no longer delay. The woman thinks for a moment, and regretfully dismounts from her steed.
Farewell, my Starkmode. May you find your way back to the yellow fields of the Mark.
I will see you again when my task is done. The woman turns back to you, a cold look in her eye. The fate of Rohan rests upon my quest. or I would not leave one so loyal as my Starkmod. So swears Egfrith of Faldham, who has ridden here with all haste to acquire the help Theoden King requires. Now let us ford the river, and at once. Your muscles ache, but the harsh cries of orcs from nearby strengthen your resolve.
That was not pleasant, but at least we have reached the northern bank.
It would have been much easier were the great bridge still intact. I will need to rest for a short time before we proceed. How fares Egfrith? Egfrith emerges from the river, gasping for breath.
Starkmode would have followed me anywhere I would lead him, even to his death.
He is the same as I am, for I would do anything for Rohan. Egfrith breathes deeply, and rubs the feeling back into the muscles of her arms. On the other side of this cruel river, you asked why I seek the Dunedain Rangers. Theoden King has fallen ill, seized by a weakness of the body from which it is feared he may not recover. I was told the Rangers of the North know methods of healing that might cure the king's ailment. I am to recover one of their remedies, or to return to Edoras with one of their healers, that he might heal the king. It is only for the future of Rohan that I would abandon my Starkmod. Any who question that will face my sword.
I can hear orcs prowling among the ruins of the city.
And if we do not post a watch, they may surprise us while we rest from the crossing. They have become an ever-growing threat in my own land, and the king has not the strength to oppose them. Rohan suffers. I will help your friend make sure this campsite remains unoccupied by those who made it, if you will hunt the orcs that prowl the city. We will stay here only long enough to dry our clothes and recover from the crossing, and the fewer orcs between us and the northern road, the better. As you wish.
How fared you against the orcs?
Did you bear the insignia we encountered on the Uruks of Swanfleet? You tell Meneldir the orcs that prowl the ruined city do not appear to wear the mark of the White Hand, and to your eye they belong to other orc tribes. Egfrith gives a sudden start.
Orcs bearing this White Hand have appeared in Rohan of late.
What do you know of this symbol, this White Hand? Orcs bearing this mark have appeared in Rohan of late, and many are the towns and crofts they have troubled throughout the Riddermark. The king's illness prevents him from properly dealing with these raiders, and every day the kingdom grows more weak, more frail. But who commands this tribe against my people? An elder gives you a warning look, and you tell Egfrith that Uruks of the White Hand must serve some powerful chieftain of their own kind. She rests a hand against the pommel of her sword. Yes, that does seem to be the way of that kind. Still, the orcs here in Tharbad need not serve beneath the White Hand to endanger my own errand or your own. There are other fires to the west, on the other side of the broken bridge from here, and if you clear away their defenders, we will rest more easily and be better prepared to travel safely through the city. Light glints on the weapons of a man fighting further to the west. The man has triumphed over the orcs, but he eyes you warily as you approach.
Hail, friend, if friend you be.
I am a long way from my home in the land of Gondor, but if you are an orc foe, then we share that in common. I deem from your gear that you are a traveler yourself, and no stranger to either hardship or fighting. So it is with me, though I am new to this land.
Boromir is my name, and I've come from Minas Tirith by a long road on an urgent errand.
The crossing of the river proved treacherous, and I was forced to abandon my steed. I ran afoul of orcs among the ruins, as you can see, and one of their cowardly thieves stole my pack. When I have recovered it, I will resume my quest. If you catch this thief for me, I will be indebted to you, my good man. I think he ran off to the southwest. Ah, there's the orc thief. It's time you met your end. You recovered the stolen pack and should return it to Boromir.
You must have struck fear into the heart of that thief, my new friend.
This pack is much lighter than it was when he stole it, and it seems he scattered its contents among the ruins in his eagerness to escape. Might I trouble you to gather up my lost supplies? We'll go look for your supplies. There's more over here. Right, this must be the remaining bits and pieces here.
Thank you for this, my new friend. I am in your debt.
Not only that, but I must beg your pardon, but I was so pleased to encounter a friendly face that I did not even ask your name. Pray tell it to me, now. Forgive me for my oversight. Subcopy. It is my honor to make your acquaintance, Subcapi. You say your companions are nearby. I would join them at their fire, if you think I would be welcome. If not, I will continue on my own. But it has been a long road, and I would not turn down a friendly campfire and pleasing conversation. Come along with me, then. Menelder leaps to his feet as you and Boromir approach.
Who have you found? Who comes so to our fire?
I did not expect to see a soldier of the Citadel this far from his homeland.
You may sit by our fire, Captain of Gondor, if you are willing to share with us your tale.
I am interested to hear the reasons for it.
My reasons are my own, but I will tell you the tale, as much as your fire seems to earn.
I will tell you the tale of my journey, as much as your fire seems to earn. I have seen larger, brighter, and warmer, but this has proven a cold land, and even a poor fire is better than none.
It was in the days of June that my father Denethor, the steward of Gondor, called his sons to the White Tower.
Long has my father kept watch upon the black land of Mordor, and at his command the soldiers of Minas Tirith never relaxed their vigil. The steward's commands are respected, as is right, but what man from the high walls of Minas Tirith could not see smoke rising from Mount Doom, far away and yet still too near? In the taverns of the city they named it a fell portent, and in the high chambers of council my father agreed with his folk, though they knew it not. But none could have foreseen the onslaught that emerged from Mordor. A great force swept through Ithilien, driving our soldiers before it, and at Osgiliath we slowed its approach for as long as we could, and destroyed the bridge behind us. There was something strange about the battle, my friends. There were strange omens before and during the fighting, but neither my brother Faramir nor I could understand their meaning. We spoke of them to our father. What does it mean, father?
It means these are strange times in which we live, Boromir.
But it may be a message.
Speak to me not of fairy stories. We have always measured our strength by the bright sword and the sturdy shield. And so we will today.
I am sorry, father. We mean not to question your wisdom, father.
This much is clear to me, my sons. Gondor is strong, but even Gondor cannot stand forever against such evil. Can it be that names out of legend may hold some key to defeating this enemy? Imladris. Can it be?
My father is wise in ways I could never be, for I am in my very bones a fighting man. The stories with which I grew up shaped me to be this. But the steward of Gondor must be a learned man if he is to guide Gondor through such troubled times as these. What the name Imladris meant to my father he would not say, only that it was a place far to the north where lived Elrond the Half-Elven, who was said to be the greatest of the lore masters of Middle-earth, canny and dangerous. Few or none in Gondor know where this place might be found, my father told us. My brother Faramir volunteered at once to seek out this place, and to ask Elrond Half-Elven if he might know the meaning of the many strange portents we had seen in recent days. I knew the road would be full of danger, and took the journey for myself. My father was most wroth at my choice, and he argued against it, but at last he gave me leave to depart. He must have seen that I could find the secret dale in which Imladris lies, and bring back knowledge to aid Gondor. Before I set forth, my father impressed upon me the need for secrecy. Enemies could lurk anywhere, my son, he told me. Remember that Gondor needs you. Return with the knowledge of the Half-Elven can provide as quickly as you can. More quickly, if you deem the quest to be a foolhardy one. I assured him I would not abandon the quest, and departed at first light, taking the west road into Rohan.
As is custom, I called upon Theoden, king of Rohan, upon arriving at his city.
Greetings to you, Boromir, son of Denethor. You are welcome to Medusled, ruling seat of Theoden King.
Hold. Who comes here?
It is Boromir, son of the Steward of Gondor, captain of the White City. He is known to Rohan, and is a friend.
Is that so?
These are dangerous times, and friends must be judged more carefully than before.
The king is indisposed, and will see no one today.
I was denied my audience with Theoden, but I did speak with others of his court. The man Grima had a foul look. I did not like him. Theoden's door ward is named Hammer. He seemed a good man. May Theoden recover from his illness, but if he does not, Theodred will be a good king. I know not what to make of Eowyn, the king's niece, or all women of Rohan so eager to fight. I sparred for a time with Eomer, nephew of Theoden, a good man. I could not tarry long at Edoras.
My obligation to call upon Theoden satisfied as best as could be managed. I left Edoras and continued my journey. I would pass through the Gap of Rohan and then turn north for lands I had never seen. But as I neared the fords of Isen, to my surprise I encountered someone I had not expected to see. I dismounted to speak with him.
Hail to you, son of Gondor. What errand brings you with such haste to my borders?
It is an errand of some urgency for the kingdom of Gondor. But I should not speak of it.
I see. There was a time when the wisdom of wizards was much sought after.
I mean no offense. I fully understand neither the need for secrecy nor my journey's purpose. What power can there be in Imladris that might aid Gondor?
Imladris. You seek the haven of Elrond Half-Elven. Why?
I beg your pardon, my lord, but I have said too much already.
Too much, and yet nothing at all, son of Gondor. But I will not let you pass Isengard without the benefit of my knowledge. The refuge you seek lies in a northern dale, guarded by sharp-eyed elves. If you plan to treat them with the discourtesy you have shown me, you had best turn around and save your own skin.
It has been said that wizards are quick to anger. Saruman, at least, did not prove an exception.
I feared I had offended him, but I tried not to brood upon it. I had not called upon him at his home, after all. If he should leave his tower and the Vale of Isengard to interrupt my quest, let him bear the burden of my unpracticed tongue. I am a fighting man, as I have said before, and am unused to the ways of wizards. I resumed my journey. I was already a long way from Gondor, but there was longer to go.
Beyond the Gap of Rohan, I saw no sign of trouble for countless miles.
Beyond the Gap of Rohan, the wide fields of Enedwaith lay before me, and I saw no sign of trouble for countless miles. To me it seemed an empty land, and the days passed beneath cloudless skies as I journeyed north. But as I descended the slope toward the ruins of Tharbad, I knew the river crossing would be difficult. I released my steed, setting his eyes toward the bountiful grasses of the Swanfleet before I left him, and I made the crossing myself. Shortly afterward, I was set upon by orcs. That is when you found me, Sepulchre.
That is my tale. You have no doubt heard more exciting stories than this.
And were I to speak of our mighty efforts in Gondor's defense, you would hear one such. But time is wasting.
Could I speak with you alone for a moment?
Let us just walk to the northeast, right over there. I do not know if we can trust this captain of Gondor, Sepulchre. Remember the words of Bregoleth. She told us to guard our trust with care, for even seeming allies could harbor treachery in their hearts. Neither do I exclude Egfrith from this warning, but Boromir rode right by Isengard on his way north, and even admitted that he spoke with Saruman. How can we trust his conversation with the White Wizard was as he described? We cannot. I think we should keep what we know of the White Hand to ourselves for now, just in case Boromir has fallen under the sway of the traitor wizard. We can travel together, at least until we reach Bree and the Dunedain. But we should keep an eye on both of our companions. Bregoleth believed we stood on the very precipice of danger, and I think she spoke true. Here, take this map of Cardolan. Show it to the others, and see what they recommend for our course. Meneldir presses a worn and faded map of old Cardolan into your hands.
You've decided we should travel together.
I believed your friend would suggest we should not, but I find the idea agreeable, for now. Should my own course not align with yours, I will depart, and without hard feeling. Boromir unfolds the map of old Cardolan and studies it briefly, before handing it back to you. My own journey's end lies in a hidden dale, Sepulchre, further north than this map tells. Perhaps Meneldir will unveil a second map when we draw nearer to the Breeland. And that one will mark my destination. But perhaps not. My father said the dale was hidden. It pleases me to hear that Meneldir will not turn away the captain of Gondor, for the men of that land are warriors strong and true, and in past days they have been hardy folks of Rohan, and we of them. Egfrith unfolds the map of Cardolan and wrinkles her nose. These names are unfamiliar to me, Sepulchre, so different from those of my own land. I cannot begin to understand how to speak some of these places aloud. Boromir is not the only one of us who is far from their homeland. I will follow Meneldir until we find the ranges of the north, for Rohan lies withering while I am away, and if I cannot return with the thing I seek, I fear the kingdom will die. Then we are agreed. A road leads north, and that means we must pass through the city and travel north along the Greenway towards Breeland. We should defeat more of the creatures that lie between us and the northern walls of the city, and I suggest we scout the gaps in the encircling wall at several locations before we leave Tharbad behind us. Once that is accomplished, we can meet up just north of the city to plan our further course. As you wish.
And that is Tharbad behind us.
If the crossing of the Grey Flood proves the worst experience of our journey, I will count as fortunate. I fear it will not be so, though it is likely to be the wettest. Did Tegwin dislike the damp and cold of the Wade water? He is fortunate he had no need to cross the Grey Flood, and under the watchful eye of his parents, it will be many years before he might. But now we must turn our eyes to our own road. Cardolan awaits, and within its bounds we will find my friend Narndir, who will know the location of the chieftain of the Dunedain. Then will Egfrith's purpose be attained, and our own as well. Perhaps then Boromir can be set on the proper course, and you and I will dine at the Prancing Pony before we part. But we are not there yet. We must take one step at a time, lest we trip upon our own feet. Our first destination will be the town of Herne, a village of farmers and traders that grew up at a crossing of the ways to the northwest of here, where the Greenway coming south meets with the road coming north out of Enedwaith. When last I came this way, the tavern at Herne was a pleasant enough place, although it could not truly compete with the Prancing Pony for entertainment and company. Crossway House it was called, a 2-story building near the south gate. Let us be off. The man stares at you with suspicious eyes and hurries for his home. Like her neighbor, the woman glares at you and hurries home. Strange. The inside of the inn is dark and quiet.
You and your friends might want to keep walking, stranger.
Herne is not the place it once was, and you will not find welcome here. You ask the innkeeper what happened to the town. He frowns, shaking his head. 4 nights ago, something evil passed through the center of Herne. No one knows exactly what it might have been, but every night since, a terrible fear has seized the town. Old man Aberthal says he saw something that first night, but I don't know. He was an adventurer in his younger days, but he has such a reputation for tale-spinning that it has always been hard to tell the truths from the falsehoods in his stories. But something happened that night, and the town has not been the same ever since. You had best be moving on, you and your friends, before the dark comes again.
I have seen something like this before.
Well, I say seen, but I did not see it. Say instead that I felt it, something dark and evil. It filled man and horse with dread. We stood in defense of the river at Osgiliath when this presence came upon us, and even the boldest among us were seized by a terrible fear. We cast down the bridge behind us, and only a few of us escaped. I have never felt a fear like that before, Subcappy. Some of my men claimed they saw the figure from which the terror spread, but I do not know if I believe it. Might that evil have come north from Gondor somehow? I did feel as if I were being watched at times as I rode through the empty lands. Or were they not as empty as they appeared? I should speak with the old man the innkeeper mentioned. If his story matches those of my soldiers, that will tell me something of the evil that came to Herne. Maddock clears his throat.
I hope you won't use old Aberthal too harshly.
He is something of a peculiar fellow, but despite his strangeness, most of Herne's folk are quite fond of him, and he has always brought his custom to Crossway House, which I appreciate. Let me give you a mug of his favorite spiced beer. It may loosen his tongue. To be truthful, that is not usually a problem for our Aberthal, but he might not want to speak about whatever happened to him that night. The beer may make him more willing to talk with you. Maddock gives you a mug of beer that smells strongly of cinnamon.
You go with Boromir and Egfrith to speak with this man. I will seek to learn more.
I will ask around Herne to see what else I can learn about what happened here. Maddock tells you how to find Aberthal's home in the northern part of Herne.
Why have you come to bother me? I speak to no one. Not since...
Aberthal eyes you nervously. Aberthal grins. Now that's different, he says.
I have not had any visitors in quite some time. What brings you to my home?
You want to hear about the crawling darkness. Aberthal shakes in his chair, then takes a bracing gulp from the mug of beer. Maybe I had better know your names. Who are these companions you bring with you? You call for Boromir and Egfrith to join you.
Boromir, you say? And Egfrith?
Surely you are not the same Boromir who is the son of the Steward of Gondor. Some 20 years ago I traveled to the Southlands, adventuring, you know, and I had the privilege of meeting the Steward. I remember his sons, both of lordly mind. You do bear a resemblance to the elder of the two, but you travel now in secret, it seems. I will say no more of it. A guard of the Citadel, if not its captain, in my own home. I can hardly believe it. Egfrith, a proud woman of Rohan. In the days of my youth, I rode across the Rittermark at joyful gallop. Is Theoden still king of Rohan? It was a beautiful land. He was stern but strong, loved by his people, and respected by his foes. It must still be so. The set of Egfrith's jaw tightens, but she says nothing. Aberthal continues. I will tell you what happened to me. With such fine protectors in my home, what have I to fear? This I have done for years, every night, ever since I gave up the adventuring life. You may think it odd, but I have found these moonlit strolls to keep something of my old wanderlust at bay. Perhaps this is the night I keep a-walking. Aberthal, old fellow, I've asked myself on occasion. But thus far, I have always come back to my home, and sleep comes quickly. But on that night, while strolling along the lane west of my home, smelling the night flowers and listening to the sound of frogs down by the riverbank, I could sense that something was different. I can't tell you exactly what it might have been, but I was seized by a tremendous feeling of... I don't know. Wrongness. I felt it in the pit of my stomach. There is a grassy place on the left between two buildings along that lane, and a single tree grows there. My eye was drawn to that tree, and as I watched, I swear to you, a deeper shadow moved out from behind the trunk. It made a strange sound as it moved, a whispering just beyond the edge of my hearing. It reminded me of being lost in distant woods, stalked by a dangerous creature I could not yet see. But this was no mountain lion. I drew on all my reserves of courage, I tell you, and I turned to run, but even as my muscles tensed, I knew it was too late. While I stood transfixed by the creeping shadow in front of me, a second dark figure had come up behind. This one towered above me, for it sat astride a great black steed. But I could not tell you how I had not heard the sound of its hooves on the cobbles as it approached. I must have fainted then, for the next thing I remember is being shaken awake by Bledri, one of the townspeople, carrying a lantern. He said he found me lying at the base of the tree between those two buildings on his way home, and with no sign of either dark figure anywhere about. But every night since, a terrible sensation of dread has fallen upon Herne as the sun disappears beneath the horizon. Do you know what they were, friends? Has anything of this sort been seen in Gondor or in Rohan? What business could draw such terrible creatures to Herne?
What did you learn from the old man?
You tell Menelder of Aberthal's frightening nighttime encounter. He frowns and strokes his beard. This does align with the story Boromir told us about the power he sensed at Osgiliath, but that is leagues away. What has brought it here, a horse at such speed? I may know one name of these creatures, but I will not speak it here. He turns to the innkeeper. Madoc, might I ask you to open your doors to all the townsfolk of Herne this evening? Some evil has left its mark upon the village, and I think it would be safest if the townsfolk sheltered behind the strong walls of Crossway House tonight. Menelder turns back to you. As for us, Sepcapi, I think we should hunt some game in Sedgemead to resupply Madoc's pantry, gather up firewood so we can keep the town braziers burning all night, and bring word to the townspeople that they should shelter within Crossway House tonight. What say you to this plan? I will not leave these people undefended. I cannot.
You want the folk of Herne to shelter within Crossway House tonight?
If I hadn't felt the terrible dread that settles upon Herne when the sun goes down, I might object, stranger. But I will do as you say, and let my neighbors know to do the same. Something is not right in Herne.
You want the townsfolk to shelter within Crossway House tonight?
If I hadn't found old Aberthal lying on the ground the night this started happening, I might think it wasn't necessary, stranger. But I believe something evil had him in its clutches, and it only departed when I drew near with my lamp. I will tell my neighbors your plan.
Shelter in Crossway House tonight? Preposterous!
My family will do as we have always done, stranger, and stay in our own home. There's a bad feeling about Herne of late, it is true, but with my door barred and the candles snuffed, my family has nothing to fear. Others can do as they will, but we will not cower in the tavern all night. This is some scheme of Madoc's to fill his coffers. You mark my words, and old Aberthal has always been mad. Ask anyone. Now good day to you, and do not bother me again.
The braziers are refilled, and Madoc's pantry has been newly filled. Good.
As for whether the townsfolk will shelter within Crossway House tonight, let us hope more of them do than do not. It is for their own good, though they may not all believe it. Let me know when you are ready, Subcapi. We will wait for night to fall.
I hope we have done enough, my friend. This night may be a hard one.
We shall see.
We have prevailed upon the innkeeper to allow the residents of Herne to shelter within Crossway House for the night. For I fear that whatever evil came to this town will be back.
It is a relief to me that so many of Herne's folk listen to us, Subcapi. I hope the walls of Crossway House prove strong enough to keep them safe, but that the evil has moved on and this plan is made unnecessary. But I cannot risk that. These first hours have not been difficult for the people of Herne, for Madoc made the wise decision to let his ale flow freely, and has set plenty of food upon his tables. The real test will come in the hours ahead. Will you speak with some of the folk here in the Crossway House and determine their mood? I shall speak with them. I have not seen Crossway House this busy for many months. Would that it could be in better circumstance. Some of my neighbors believe this is some scheme of mine, cooked up to increase my custom. Ha! If only I could claim to have thought of it. Alas, I am not that smart. It does seem as if nothing will come to Herne this night. Still, you and your companions have my thanks. It is better to be safe than it is to be sorry, yes? I will tell you the honest truth, Subcapi. For you and your companions have my respect, and I cannot keep secrets from you. I wish I had not come here tonight. Maddock has been free with his spiced beer, and I appreciate it. But that changes nothing. I can see in the eye of my mind the crawling shape I encountered that night in town, and I know that if I look over my shoulder, I will see its companion, sitting astride a steed black as night. They are waiting just outside the walls of the inn, waiting for me to emerge. Oh, I am sorry. It's just such a strong feeling. I was an adventurer, and now I am undone by the faintest whisper of a memory. I am shamed. There are so many folk here, and some of them heroes. Boromir of Gondor, Egfrith of Rohan, and I do not exclude you from that list, Sepkapi. Forgive me. I will find my courage. There is safety among so many good folk, after all. Those shadows will not dare to trouble us here. There's nothing out there. At least nothing I can see. I've given myself a couple frights already tonight, when the wind kicks up and throws back the shutters on the inn. But that is all. For now, anyway. I'm glad to be in here with my neighbors, and not out there, in the dark. It is comforting to be inside on a night such as this, even if whatever came here before does not return. Sometimes the conversation ebbs, and I think I can hear wailing outside the walls of the inn. But that's just my imagination. Perhaps it is the wind. We are safe in Crossway House, I hope. Your companions have their weapons, and so do you. You will keep us safe if anything happens, won't you?
Pull up a seat. We should rest while we can. Perhaps nothing will happen, but...
I cannot remain idle, friend Meneldir, while danger approaches. My station shall be at a window, keeping watch.
It will be some hours until dawn, Boromir.
It is of no use, Ranger. I have heard this of the men of Gondor. They lower their guard only when slain.
You have heard it from them alone, I imagine.
Aye, and loudly. Still, it is a trait the Rohirrim might have used, and spared some sorrow. The land of my people is not what it was. A kingdom draws strength from its king.
Boromir spoke to us of Theoden's ailment. It prevented his audience. When we reach the Dunedain, they will surely know some remedy you can bring back to Rohan.
Yes.
Saruman the Wizard is a friend of Rohan. His knowledge of remedies and curatives might have proved some help to your king. What is it, Egfrith? You have gone quite pale.
I did not want to say anything, but... I fear the wizard might no longer be a friend to Rohan. If Theoden King is to be cured, I would rather he recover on his own, without the aid of Saruman.
Aye, that seems the wisest course.
Perhaps you should see if Boromir has seen anything outside.
There is nothing out there, Sepkapi. Just wind and darkness.
If something is going to happen, then let it happen. Curse this endless waiting. Will the sun never rise and put an end to it?
By tomorrow, these dull hours will seem only a passing dream, Boromir.
Nay, it could be like another dream I've had. One that never releases its grip.
We have all had dreams like that. Every day for the last half year, I have hoped I would wake from my own dream. I would rub the sleep from my eyes and see that Rohan is strong again.
Would that it could be so for Gondor as well. But I speak of another dream. Have any of you ever experienced dreams with the feel of prophecy?
I told you of the assault upon Osgiliath in the days of June, did I not? And of the strange omens surrounding the battle. One of these was a dream with the feel of prophecy. This I withheld from you, for I did not know what to think. In Gondor we rely upon the bright sword and the sturdy shield, and we are right to do so. A dream is a fleeting thing, and what man would put his trust in something that lives only in darkness and vanishes with the sunrise? Boromir strokes his beard thoughtfully. I say dreams are fleeting, but this one was peculiar. It came to my brother Faramir on the eve of the attack upon Osgiliath, and then many nights afterward. Always the same. It came once to me, and although my brother told me of the dreams, it was with mine own eyes that I beheld these details. They seemed so real to me. In the dream I saw the eastern sky growing dark, and there was a rumbling as of thunder, but a light lingered in the western sky, and a clear voice called to me. Seek for the sword that was broken, it said. In Imladris it dwells. There shall be counsels taken stronger than Morgul spells. That is of greatest interest to any son of Gondor, Sepkapi. Any means of countering the evils that pour from the Morgul Vale are welcome in Minas Tirith. But the voice did not stop there. Speaking of Imladris, it continued. There shall be shown a token that doom is near at hand. For Isildur's bane shall awaken, and the halfling forth shall stand. Boromir stares at you solemnly. For my brother to dream of this doom, the doom of Minas Tirith, on so many nights, and then for the same dream to come to me, I fear that we are running out of time. Gondor needs the wisdom that lies hidden in Imladris, but now we waste the hours hiding in this inn, when we should be moving ever onward.
This is why you seek Imladris? You did not tell Saruman the purpose of your journey.
Perhaps I was being foolish. Perhaps it is only a dream. But if it is not, if the sword that was broken might save Minas Tirith.
You would do anything to save your home.
Aye, Egfrith, that I would.
What was that?
I feel cold.
Something outside.
The feeling of dread grows stronger. Prepare yourselves. Something approaches.
The dead! The dead have risen! Foul sorcery sends them against us!
Fight on, my friends! Fight on!
Is there no end to this horror?
I think that is all of them. It is almost dawn.
It is over, Sepkapi. We are alive.
It is as I feared.
The creatures that passed through Herne 4 nights ago were the wraiths once called Nazgûl, and they left something behind to draw the dead hither. But why have these creatures of legend returned to life? And where did they go? And most importantly, and of greatest concern to me, for what purpose have they come so far north? We should examine the northern approach to the town, since that's the direction from which the dead came. Let us clean up whatever detritus fell from the whites, so as not to spark alarm in the townsfolk. Though it may seem too late for that. The fallen arm of a wight, forgotten during the battle, crawls to attack. The crawling arm makes an angry fist and expires.
Even in the light of day, I find it hard to believe such things are possible.
Ancient terrors stalk the land once again, and the dead walk. While you were gone, I found a skull-shaped token buried in the dirt. A shallow grave of sorts, just beneath the topsoil. I think it was left here on purpose to draw those creatures hither.
I share Meneldir's amazement, but I do not like it.
Let the dead sleep, and trouble not the living. I am filled with disgust that such things may be. But where has Egfrith gone? I thought she went with you, but she has not returned. Do you think she ran afoul of some among the wights we might have missed?
Boromir is right. I have not seen Egfrith since we came outside.
I thought she went with you to collect the fallen items of the wights, but you say you have not seen her. Perhaps she went back inside the inn. Egfrith does not appear to be inside the Crossway house.
I hope I have not done wrong.
She told me not to give you the letter for a day or two, but if you already know to expect it, I suppose there is no harm in you having it early. I did not read it. She told me not to do so, and her expression was so grim I took her at her word. I hope I have not done wrong, Sepulchre. Aberthel motions to a sheet of parchment lying face down on his table. Egfrith's handwriting covers the front of the parchment.
My friends, no, I cannot address you so, for our friendship was based upon a deception. I am sorry.
It causes me great pain to write this, but I am left no other choice. I could not forgive myself if I abandoned you without explanation. Leave you I must, for the ink here is smudged. Sepulchre, Meneldir of the North, and Boromir of Gondor. My errand to this land is not as I told you. It is true that I was born in Faldham of the Norcross, and I hold the good of Rohan above all else, but my mission was not to seek the Dunedain. Theoden King is ill, that much is true, but there is no cure to be found for his ailment, neither in the Rittermark nor in the Dunedain's wilderness. He has grown weak, and has himself become a grave threat to the survival of Rohan. His people need a strong king, but he languishes in his sickbed. He has forgotten the strength he once possessed, and can no longer lead the people who cry out to him. In days past, perhaps he would have ridden out in glory, to die in battle and stir the hearts of the Rohirrim, but no longer. It was with the wizard Saruman that I consulted on this, for he has long been a friend to Rohan, and he confirmed that which I feared. It is a weakness of the blood that troubles Theoden, and it must run too in the blood of Theodred, his heir. The wizard has much wisdom, for he has lived to see many lifetimes, and he can see that which the rest of us fail to recognize. Rohan itself suffers from an illness. He will treat this illness with a difficult remedy. He has found numerous orcs, likely from their mountain strongholds, and prepares to send them against the kingdom. Through the crucible of this testing, the mighty men of Rohan will prove who among them is strong enough to lead. I say men, but perhaps it will be a queen who proves able to save Rohan from this peril. The old lineages are not enough. Even with all his wisdom, Saruman cannot see all. When Boromir of Gondor rode near to Isengard, the wizard sought to learn what caused the son of Denethor to depart his own land. Was Saruman's plan to save Rohan in jeopardy? He charged me to follow the son of Gondor north, and to learn the purpose behind his quest. I kept a day's journey behind him, out of sight in the empty lands, but always near enough to find his course, until the crossing of the Greyflood at Tharbad. That is where I encountered you, Meneldir, and Sepulchre. It was an act of desperation to join your band, but I feared Boromir would escape my reach, and I would fail my own quest. And yet I did fail, for in the brief time we journeyed together, I came to understand what drove Boromir to this land, so far from his home. He traveled these many leagues at a dream's behest, for nothing so certain as the slimmest hope that it might aid Gondor. So too is it with me and Rohan. Each of us would do the same for our own homeland. Even now I try to excuse my treachery, as if I could avoid judgment by not writing it down. There was more to my errand. Once I learned Boromir's purpose, I was to slay him. I could not have done it in battle, for all my weapon skill. But one of these nights, while he slept, I might have managed it. But I will not. I go now to bring Saruman the knowledge he craved. He will learn something from Boromir's dream, and it will need to be enough. I thought I could slay anyone, if it meant saving my kingdom. But I was wrong. I will command Aberthal to give you this letter in a few days. I want you to know what I have done and not done, but I will not risk you stopping me. For Rohan, always. Egfrith.
What happened? Did you find Egfrith? Is she in some danger?
You hand the letter to Menelder, and as he reads it, his expression darkens, a storm cloud of anger enveloping his face. This cannot be! This cannot be! Quickly, Menelder cries. We must stop her from escaping! To the southward road! Menelder calls a halt to your pursuit of Egfrith. I see the print of hooves in the dirt. She must have stolen a horse in Herne and has already escaped into Minhriath. She is beyond our reach now. Saruman will learn what he sought. I did not see it, Sepcapi. I thought Egfrith was trustworthy. I did not see it. Boromir speaks quietly, but you can hear the strain in his voice. I know what I must do. I began this journey alone, and I must finish it alone. Menelder seeks to protest, but Boromir holds up a hand. I have made up my mind. Egfrith's betrayal has opened my eyes to the sad truth that I can only rely upon myself. If the doom of Minas Tirith is truly at hand, I cannot risk casting aside this one chance to prevent it. I am sorry. It is for the best that I journey on to the hidden vale of Imladris alone. I wish you both well. Use caution if you find yourself in the path of the evil power I felt at Osgiliath, and one that sent the dead against Herne. I take my leave of you, though it leave my heart heavy, but I must. Farewell. I wish it were otherwise, Boromir, but I respect your decision. Good luck to you on your journey, and I echo your words of caution. Sepcapi, unless you too wish to leave me, I think we should return to the east gate of Herne before we continue in search of my friend Narndir, who will be able to guide us to the chieftain of the Dunedain. All right, let us return to Herne.
I have been thinking about Egfrith, and about her lies.
We have already been through much, and more still lies ahead. I don't want there to be any deception between us. Secrets have a way of growing when they are left in the darkness. A friend of mine described them like mushrooms, but less delicious. Aye, he was a hobbit, although that is not the only folk who appreciate cooked mushrooms. But I'm stalling. Of course I am. Menelder sighs heavily. I was born in Tornhad, a settlement of the Dunedain in the angle of Mythaethel, and I was one of that folk. I grew up playing in the woods and caves nearby, and when I came of age, I swore the oath they all did, to protect the line of the king, as had been done for centuries, and to do as the chieftain of the Dunedain has trusted lieutenants commanded in all things. I failed in this, Sepcapi. I was commanded to keep watch on a certain house, where it was feared that trolls had come down from the mountains and might endanger the folk who lived there. I let my watchfulness lapse, and on an overcast day the trolls moved much further than anyone expected, and a family was slain. I had broken my oath, and they suffered the consequences of my failure. I have not considered myself a Dunedain since that day. Nandar and a few others promised to speak on my behalf to the chieftain, but my own shame burned like a fire, and I fled. I would not return to these lands unless our warning was dire, and it is. So now you know, Sepcapi. Judge me as you will. The lesson of Egfrith has shown to me that it is better you know. Much appreciated.
We can stay on the Greenway for another day's travel.
Before we reach the ruins at which Nandar makes his camp. Our warning that Saruman has betrayed the good folk of Middle-earth must reach the chieftain of the Dunedain, and Nandar will know where he can be found. It will not be a pleasing reunion for me, but it must be done. The road leaves Herne from the eastern side, but circles the town to the north, and that is the way we should go. An elder stops and looks around, worry creasing his brow.
I feel eyes upon us.
Someone watches us, and I am put in mind of what Egfrith wrote, as she tracked Boromir for many days as he journeyed across the empty lands. No, I do not think she has returned to plague our steps. She was intent on reaching Saruman with what she learned of Boromir when she left us, but this might be another spy. See what you can find nearby, my friend. Perhaps some clue will identify this unseen watcher for us. Alright, let's take a look. Furious squawking signals the arrival of feathery spies. An elder suddenly gives a shout and races to the northwest. A body lies here in the brush. No! No! What cruel jest is this? Menelder stares in horror at the body of a ranger lying in the grass. This is the man we seek, Sepcapi. This is Narndur. I don't understand it. We are still some days' travel from the camp where Narndur made his home, studying the ruins of Cardolan. He was always writing in that journal of his, documenting the details of artifacts and architecture he found worthy of note. We used to gather pigments together, he and I, as children in the Angle, for even then he exhausted such quantities of ink that he was always running out. Narndur. Menelder clenches his hands into fists. Can I ask you to examine his body, Sepcapi? I cannot bring myself to do it. But we must know the manner of his death. It is apparent that Narndur has been dead for a number of days. He suffered several sword strokes to the back, and from impressions in the dirt around his body, it appears he was ridden down by someone on horseback as he fled. I don't understand it. Narndur should not have been here at all, Sepcapi. What brought him so far from his usual dwelling place? And who would intend to harm him at all? Furthermore, he was no coward. To what foe would he turn his back? Nearly without pause, Menelder answers his own question. Aye, Sepcapi. We know the answer already. The creeping shadows Aberthal saw that night in Herne, one of which sat astride a great black horse. I named the creatures once, and now I do so again. Nazgûl. Such a foe would inspire fear in even the stoutest of the Dunedain, and such a foe might even ride down a fleeing man to slay him with a sword stroke to the back. It would be as nothing to such a creature. Sarn Ford is to the west of here, and it seems that might be the site from which Narndur fled. There have at times been a few rangers at the ford there, though never in great number. I think we should divert our course to Sarn Ford and learn what might have befallen its defenders. As you wish. There are signs of recent battle at Sarn Ford.
If you are a friend to the Rangers of the North, you are welcome here.
I have not met you before, man, but if you are a friend to the Rangers of the North, you are welcome here, though we are sorely pressed. But I do know your companion, and I am surprised he has returned to show his face in these lands.
You say you have a warning for me, Meneldir. Deliver it then and be away.
We are still recovering from an attack upon the ford that left us scattered in disarray, and I cannot spare much time for those who break their oaths. But I might have some use for your companion, Sepcapi. I ask you to aid the defenders of Sarn Ford and gather nearby ranger caches. They were set aside to provide sustenance and supplies in the event they were needed, and in the aftermath of the attack they surely are. As you wish. Ever since the terrible wraiths attacked the fort, we have endured the onslaught of the dead. They rise and press the attack, and though we defeat them, always they return. They're coming back! I don't think that's all of them. What draws such nightmares hither? You and Galasepdir have triumphed over the Whites. That is all of them, for now. They have come back before.
Something has stirred the wolves into a frenzy.
Ever since those terrible riders attacked Sarn Ford, we have heard the howls of wolves from nearby Ruddymore. Something has stirred them to frenzy, and they continually test our defenses along the outskirts, as they never have before. What has stirred these creatures to such madness? I hope that is the end of it, but the mystery remains. What caused this rage? Let us seek out the ranger caches. The Rangers of Eriador placed caches such as these in the wilderness to provide supplies and aid in time of need, but they did not expect such a time to be so near.
I thought so.
These creatures have a knack for stirring nearby enemies to madness, and for leaving disorder in their wake. Perhaps a removal of this token will slow the onslaught of the dead upon the defenders here. An elder's hunch was correct. He is going to be insufferable now.
Thank you for bringing back these supplies. We will have need of them.
If it is true that Saruman and the other wizards have turned against us... Halbrand shakes his head. It is not that I distrust your words, Sepcapi, but Meneldir broke his oath to the Dunedain, and that is a matter of great shame for us. Not just for him, but for all of us. Is it not the failing of an entire village when one of its own is found wanting? But such is our need that I cannot turn even Meneldir away, as was my first instinct. The Rangers are scattered and in disarray, and I need every man. That goes for you, too. Well, I'm here to help. I will tell you what happened in the attack, Sepcapi, and then I have a task for you and Meneldir to accomplish. Evils walk the land, and I can deny none who are willing to help us fight them.
Night had fallen on the 22nd of September, when our courage was tested. An unnatural fog rolled in, changing the contours of the land, and we were seized by a feeling of dread unlike anything we had felt before.
My own heart was seized by a terrible foreboding, but I had the duty of command and would not abandon it. I want you to know this, Sepkapi, before I tell you the events that followed. These men and women that stood with me on that night, there was not a single drop of cowardice among them. But we had no idea what we would face on that night.
The dead rise! The dead!
The barrows are emptied!
Dunedain, do not give in to fear! Forward, Dunedain!
What is that?
There's another!
You're not welcome here! Leave this land!
None can stand before us.
Go back, vile creatures, and never return! Stand, Dunedain! Protect the Shire!
The number of the terrible wraiths was 9.
Though not all those who defended Swanford knew what that meant as I did. We defied those Black Riders for as long as we could, but that is not an evil against which any man or any woman can be expected to stand for long. I do not judge any who ran, or any who hid themselves. Those of the riders who did not pass into the Shire pursued the Dunedain they found into the wild. There are still rangers in the Shire, and I know they will do what they must to save the hobbits from these Black Riders. But more of my kin were scattered across Cardolan by those of the riders that did not cross the Brandywine, and we will need their strength in the days ahead, if they still live. That is what I need from you and from Meneldir. I need you to track down survivors of the attack and learn how they fared in the days since my people were scattered like leaves in the wind. This will not cure Meneldir's shame or restore his broken oath, but it may reveal the nature of his heart. If he bears any love for his former kin, let him show it by aiding them now. You, Sepkapi, are free to do as you will, but know that it will be of great help to the Dunedain if you aid us in this, and I will not forget it.
Many of my kin were scattered across the South Downs in the wake of the attack.
And I fear at least 4 of the Black Riders may harry the rangers among the hills. Save the Dunedain you can, help them recover from their injuries, and restore what safety you can to the South Downs. If you see the wraiths, hide if you can, but run if you must. There is a power and an evil about them I have never seen before.
Any search of the South Downs should begin near Caranost.
It commands a view of the surrounding lands, and I believe any rangers seeking to return from their escape will make for it. When last I walked the rolling hills of the South Downs, there were elves camped east of the river, just on the other side of Caranost. Let us begin our search there. Hunderad greets you with a weary wave.
It is good to see friendly faces after the days we have had.
Rangers assemble here to recover from their wounds, and so far we have remained beneath notice of the terrible shadows that chased us from Sarn Ford. We are the lucky ones. Not all of my friends have been so fortunate. If you can thin the numbers of our foes in the surrounding areas, other rangers may be able to make it here to Sirlon. As you wish.
I am grateful for your help.
Perhaps more of my kin will be able to make it here to Sirlon, thanks to your efforts. Word has reached me of another gathering place in the Dunedain, at Squirlock Farm to the northeast. I would ask you to travel there and lend them similar aid, for the betterment of us all. Those wraiths remain abroad, and they have slain many of my friends already. Melanfang nods to you as you approach.
Honderoth sent you to us. I'm glad he still lives.
Too many of my folk were scattered into the wild by the attack of the terrible riders, and some were slain even as they ran. Those who survived made for this farm, and there must be other safe havens as well. Safe, did I say? No place is safe. I have not seen any sign of the riders for 2 days, but there are orcs and half-orcs gathering in the South Downs, and they are ever a threat.
Half-orcs gather around Armenthean, the Dead Mount, a place of ill omen to the east.
Some of them have dared venture near to this farm. I suspect they may hold orders that guide their movements. Find these orders, if they exist, and return to me with what you find. When we know what they seek to achieve, and how their movements align with those of the Black Riders that attacked us, we will be better able to oppose them. That way. The attack will come from both directions, north from the Blue Mountains and south up the Greenway. Your force, for I do not trust the goblins will do their part. They were given their orders, but I know those creatures, and they lack the care or the fortitude of your sort. They have claimed the ruins northwest of the Dead Mount, but whether they can be counted on, well, you know goblins. It would not surprise me to learn they have left their own orders lying about.
Half-orcs working with goblins. Sounds as if neither side is very happy about it.
But I cannot tell from this what their overall scheme might be, or for whom they toil. A half-orc held the quill that penned these orders, I believe. Not one of those terrible riders. But for whom did the half-orc write them? If the author of these orders is to be believed, we might learn more from the goblins that dwell at the ruins northwest of Amanthirn. Had Nurwe, those are called. Let us hope the goblins are as careless with their own orders as the half-orcs believe them to be. Alright, all is cleared. 5 more scraps of parchment to grab here. And hopefully we've got everything we need. Not quite right. Getting there. This might be it. Let that be a lesson to you, goblins, then. The big ones have ways of dealing with treachery, and if you work against their goals, what happened to the last batch can happen to you and yours as well. You'll be told what you need to know when you have need of it, and not before. The Dark Lord will repay us for our service. Why else would the very wisest throw their lot in with him, even as we have done? The dwarves will be easily manipulated. They will follow Skorgrim wherever he leads them, no matter who leads Skorgrim. I trust the Gaunt Lord can do this, and that should be enough for you lot. The attack will come from both directions, down from the Blue Mountains and up the Greenway from across the Old Burrows. Even now the Witch King works to raise the spirits of the dead. With the aid of the Grey Fear, none will stand against him, or against us. It was the fear that laid waste to the old kingdom that once stood here, and see what little of that remains. The shadow rises in Angmar, but it needs time to gather its strength. Not much time, but time all the same. That's what we're for, my gang and you lot. Just don't get in the way of the riders or the Grey Fear. No one would save you then, and you wouldn't want them to. You would just yearn for death. What the fear would do to you doesn't bear thinking about. So you stay out of their way. These are the Dark Lord's most valued servants. You and me are just worms to such as them, and worms can get squashed if they haven't got brains enough to get clear. We'll be called on when we're needed. Intriguing.
I don't like the sound of that. Any of that.
Not only do servants of the White Hand move openly in Swanfleet, but in Cardolan and beyond there are other powers at work. The Witch King and the Black Riders, goblins and half-orcs making common cause, and now a dwarf rebellion led by someone named Skorgrim. Judging from his name, he is no Longbeard, but if he leads an army out of the Blue Mountains, we will be hard-pressed to deal with him, no matter who he might be. But there's something else, too. These orders speak of something called the Grey Fear. That is a familiar title, but I cannot remember why.
This has given us a lot to think about. But what is the Grey Fear?
Is it a person? A spirit? Or something else? Whatever it may have been, if it is responsible in some way for the fall of Cardolan or the breaking of Arnor, we need to prevent it from working a similar evil against us today. What does Malenfang have to say about this?
The Grey Fear? No, I've never heard of anything by that name.
Is it possible it might be a disease, or an ailment of some kind? I seem to remember there was a scholar among the Dunedain who dwelt among the ruins of Old Cardolan, though his name escapes me. Hanarad may know of his whereabouts. He was encamped outside Carnost, was he not? Perhaps you should return and ask him.
Someone or something called the Grey Fear, you say?
I have not heard of such one being involved with the reunation of the Old Kingdom, but I am no scholar. You should speak with Narndir, if you can find him. He always possessed a keen interest in the history of Cardolan. He was always to be seen writing in one of his many journals. Something in your expression brings Handarad to a halt, and he stares at you questioningly. Reluctantly, you tell him that Narndir was slain by Black Riders during the flight from Sarn Ford, and that you and Menelder discovered his body just off the road northwest of Herne. I am very sorry to hear that, but especially so for Menelder. I know they were close. Narndir never had a bad word to say about Menelder, even after he left us. It was not so for many others. Handarad idly drums his fingers upon the hilt of his sword. Perhaps Narndir can still help us, said Cappy. I told you of the journals he kept. Well, I know at least one place where he hid some of them. To the east, beneath one of the towers of Cardonost. There was a hollow place. Search there, and see if Narndir recorded anything of this Grey Fear in the years before he perished. Out there, about here. This place matches the description given to you by Handarad. What do we have here? Inside the small coffer, you find a leather-bound journal wrapped in a cord. You should bring the journal to the location it describes, the throne room in Cardonost. The writing is so evocative you can almost imagine King Tarandor II is there. You will think I have taken leave of my senses, Narndir writes, but after so much study, I feel as if I have come to know these figures of the ancient past. When they suffer, I suffer. When they mourn, I mourn. And when they triumph, oh, no one could understand the joy I feel at their triumphs, few though they might have been in those dark years. I feel as if I know them. Amleath, the Builder, once Prince of Cardolan, and then later Prince of Arthedain at Fornost. Eldamakil, Prince of Rudar, Kinslayer, and Accursed. And Prince Tarandor, with whom I feel a close bond. the third and youngest son of King Erendur of Arnor, was doubted not only by his brothers, but also by his own people. Those who lived in Cardolan during his rule as prince called him Tarandur, the afterthought. But it was an epithet he would overmaster. When corrupt nobles promised plunder to the hillfolk tribes in the south if they rose up against the prince, he rode forth and vanquished the invaders. Tales of his valor grew, and Tarandur, the afterthought, became Tarandur, the forthright, beloved by his people. So it was that when Erendur, king of Arnor and father to these 3 princes, died of an illness without naming a successor, there was more than one claimant to the throne. There might have been blood spilt then, as there would be later, but Amliath suggested a compromise. "Let the kingdom of Arnor be divided," he said to his brothers, "with each of us to rule a province in friendship and alliance with each other." Tarandur then became not a prince, but a king, and he was known as King Tarandur II, for there had already been a Tarandur in the line. As the king of Cardolan, he ordered a throne built, and a crown forged at Carnost, and the fortress became the capital and the new ruling seat of the young kingdom. And even now, as I write these words, I feel tears welling in the corner of my eye, for I see the seed of treachery and death growing in the very foundation, and know what next must transpire. You should bring the journal to the location it describes, at Amon Thirn. This appears to be the location about which Narndir wrote. The writing is so evocative you can almost hear the sound of the battle.
Arthedain, Cardolan, and Rudar were enmeshed in bloody fighting for near all the years of their existence.
Writes Narndir, but few battles had such a cost as the Battle of the Dead Mount. 400 years after hated Eldamakil slew his brother Tarandur, another king of Rudar marched deep into the kingdom of Cardolan. King Malgun it was who broke the gates of Carnost at the head of an army of hillfolk. Much of the royal family was slain on that day, but Malgun was unable to find King Artandil, sensing his strength was near to overreach. The king of Rudar and his armies fled across the South Downs.
After King Artandil fell at the Dead Mount, it was Amandir who rallied what remained of the host.
Crying the king's name as he charged, Amandir rode down the fleeing men of Rudar. The son of Malgun was captured and later ransomed, and a costly peace between the kingdoms was purchased. The crown of Cardolan was offered to Amandir then, but he refused it. He would not name himself king, and instead he took the title of prince. He would rule from Dol Ernil, his own keep in Tiryn Gorthad. The primacy of Cardolan waned, and Elendil's line now only held true in Arthedain. Amandir rode to Fornos to offer his fealty, and with the reunification of Arthedain and Cardolan beneath Argaleb, the newly crowned king of Arnor, there was once again hope for the line of Elendil in the troubled kingdoms of the Dunedain. But it would not last, for there was a power behind Rudar's evil, and it walked in secret. You should bring the journal to the location it describes, the southeastern corner of Tiryn Gorthad. This appears to be the location about which Narndir wrote. The writing is so evocative, you can almost imagine the horrors that here transpired.
After Hrudaur's most recent defeat, the armies of the Witch King required time to recover
and rebuild. During that time, their evil master turned to sorcery to bedevil his enemies. In secret he came to the barrows and walked among them, whispering to the dead. Unknown to those living nearby, long-buried lords and kings stirred in their tombs, infested with fell spirits out of Angmar's darkest pits. At the Witch King's bidding they emerged, legions of the dead moving silently through the fog, preying on any who strayed too near. Countless children were stolen from their beds, or vanished from within otherwise sturdy and unyielding walls. Desperate to put an end to this nightmare, Prince Amandir set forth on a quest to find the cause of the dead's unrest. He was the lord of Tiryn Gorthad, after all, the keeper of the barrows. What had he to fear from the mist that settled upon the burial mounds? Was it not his people who were buried there? Were they not his own ancestors, his own kind, his own subjects? If he could not ease their burden and restore their restful peace, who could? Even as I write this, I find myself hoping beyond hope that the Lord of Tiryn Gorthad could put an end to it. But this has been my lifelong study, and I know how this tale ends. And it does not end with Amandir. for all his courage and his duty. Prince Amandir disappeared among the barrows. He was never seen again. I will keep this journal in memory of him, and I would do so even had we no need of the knowledge contained within. You hand the journal to Menelder, and he flips through its pages. Was never seen again, he reads, and turns the page. He looks up at you, puzzled. What happened to the rest of Narndir's account? There are several pages missing here. Even if that is the end of Amandir's story, there must have surely been more for Narndir to write. See, the account resumes here, beyond the missing pages. But what was removed, and who removed it? I will go ahead and see what I can learn from here, but I think you should return to Surlon to speak with Handarad. He knew the location where Narndir kept this journal. Perhaps he will know why some of the pages were removed. If you solve that mystery, I will meet up with you again outside Dol Ernil. As you wish.
Missing pages? Cannot say I know anything about that.
But I do not think Narndir would have torn pages from his own journal. Someone else must have removed them, although I cannot guess why such a one would return the journal to its hiding place. Hanarad rubs the side of his face, thinking deeply. There was one day that I spoke with Narndir and marked that he acted quite strangely, however. I encountered him on the Greenway, not far from the lone square ruin that stands beside the road to the northwest of Herne. Now that I think on it, his manner was quite peculiar, and it seemed he was not his usual self. What did he say? He said something strange to me, but I cannot remember it. If he did remove pages from his journal, which was not like him at all, that is the only day on which I would believe it. I wish I could remember what he said, but perhaps it will come to me. You should search that square ruin beside the road in Ruddymore. Maybe you will find something to shed light upon this mystery. A small box rests here, but its lock is broken, and it is surrounded by orc footprints. Strange. The wooden box is empty, already ransacked of its contents by orcs. Half-orcs, or goblins. The torn pages fit neatly together, and Narndir's journal is restored. My hand shakes to record this, and I confess trepidation. Should I write this account at all? But that is the duty of an archivist, is it not? To record, to remember, no matter the cost. Accounts of Prince Amandir's disappearance are few and scattered, but those that remain chill my blood. It is said his cries of terror echoed among the downs for 3 nights after he disappeared. And when they at last gave way to silence, the fog rolled in from the barrows, deeper than ever. 3 sons Amandir had when he died, and the curse that came to fall upon them could not be escaped. One of the dead, a pale shade who appeared as a man-shaped darkness in the fog, its eyes glowing a cold, blank white, appeared several decades after Amandir's disappearance. It seemed intent on hunting them, stalking and slaying them one by one. First Amon Huthal, eldest son of Amandir, was found slain, but that was not the worst. Someone had garbed him in white, and he lay before a barrow gate in the downs after becoming separated from his companions in the evening. His face was shriveled, as though he had aged 100 years in a single night. Scarcely 2 years later, his brother Thanadan met an identical fate, though in his case he disappeared from Dol Ernil itself. Men whispered that it was a grey fear that hunted the children of Cardolan, and if even the sons of vanished Prince Amandir were not protected from it, who could claim safety for any? I hesitate to write of Dol Ernil's curse, to write of this grey fear, but it is my duty. As I have sworn to the Dunedain, so have I sworn to uphold the truth, and I write it here in this journal. And we are both very interested to hear if you have learned anything more from Narndir's journal. She did not know him when he lived, so I have been telling her stories of our childhoods. It is good to remember, I have to admit it. But what have you learned? You hand Menelder the journal, and at your direction, he reads several of the pages. There it is again, the Grey Fear. There is more to learn of this foe, I know it. But listen to this. The battle plan of Angmar was threefold, but Prince Austere learned too late that more than just Amansul was endangered. He rode north to the defense of Weathertop with most of his household, and only when the southern sky filled with smoke from a great burning did he realize that Cardolan had been ravaged while he was away. He fought the battle of Weathertop through eyes bleary with tears, and only when it was done did his king give him permission to return. He galloped with utmost haste back to Dol Ernil, but he was unprepared for the sight that awaited him in the throne room. Those pages speak of the throne room of Dol Ernil. That is where you should read the rest of the account, said Cappy. Gorwin tells me the throne room is north of here, and up several flights of stairs. This appears to be the location about which Nandir wrote. The writing is so evocative you could almost imagine the terrible sight that awaited Prince Austere. By the time he finally reached Dol Ernil, Nandir writes, Prince Austere's keep was a ruined shell. Its people lay heaped and bloody in the streets, the heads of its defenders mounted on stakes above its gates. Of his mother Lueloth there was no sign at all, and in the shattered hall, seated upon Austere's throne, was the Grey Fear. I hesitate to write what I have learned, but I must. My duty compels me to write it, to write the truth. But can it be right to put into words such horror, such shame as this? It was within me. Prince Austere stood in the carnal house that was Dol Ernil, and he looked into the eyes of the creature that sat upon the throne, and he knew the identity of the Grey Fear. It was Prince Amondir who sat there, Austere's own grandfather, but the servant of evil that stared back was a stranger creature. With a horrible smile upon its mocking visage, the apparition raised its hand, pointing at Amondir's terrified grandson, and the dead rose. The Whites had simply been waiting for their master's command, Nandir writes. Now they emerged from among the slain, including some freshly killed in the recent battle, and they fell upon Austere and his knights. Panicking, the prince fled the burning stronghold, escaping into the Barrow Downs, but he might as well have tried escaping a smith's hammer by fleeing to his anvil. The Angmarim were waiting there in ambush for him, and among their number were hillfolk, orcs, and cultists of the Witch King. The dead drove Austere's dwindling company straight toward this enemy force, and there in the darkness, caught between the living and the dead, every last one of Cardolan's defenders died. Prince Austere perished last of all, sobbing with despair as one of Carn Dûm's warriors drove a spear of cold iron through his heart. His bones and those of his company vanished among the downs. I have written it. Is that what you wanted of me? I have finished it. My duty is fulfilled, but the account is too terrible. I will tear these pages from my journal, and I will hide them. Yes, let none know how badly the men of Cardolan failed. I will bury the Witch King's victory as deep allows, and so triumph over Angmar myself. The Grey Fear has not been seen in hundreds of years, and I will not give the creature life by letting this account be read by anyone. If there is any need for these pages in the days to come, I will retrieve them myself, but I can see no such day ahead of us, and that is a blessing. Nandir was at Sarn Ford when the Black Riders attacked Sepcapi, and he fled, as the others of the Dunedain did. We found his body not far from the Greenway, and I thought perhaps he made for the gathering places of his kin. But what if it was not so? What if he made instead for the lone square ruin that stands further south beside the Greenway? I wonder. I think he saw the return of the Wraiths and believed the Grey Fear would once again haunt its lands of old. Cardolan, that was. I think he was running to retrieve the torn pages of his journal, Sepcapi, so the Dunedain would know the terror they might be up against. He wanted to arm them with the knowledge of what they might face, but he was struck down by the Black Riders, by the Nazgûl, before he could reach the place where he hid the true account. I think Nandir knew the peril, and died trying to warn us of it. The Lord of the Nazgûl plans to raise the Grey Fear from its slumber, endangering all of the North.
I see the hand of the Witch King all about us.
I will tell Gorwin what we have learned of our foes, but she has kept watch on Dol Ernil for longer than we have. I suggest that you ask her what needs doing in the keep, and in the blighted Tiryn Gorthad. I see the hand of the Witch King all about us, and it must be opposed, if we are able to oppose it. As you wish.
I'm younger than Meneldir by some years.
Though we both grew up in the Angle of Methythel, I did not meet him before he left us. His name was always spoken in whispers, a warning to the children that not everyone should take the oath, and not everyone should swear the life of the Dunedain. An elder sighs heavily, and Gorn raises a gloved hand. An aura of fear grips your heart as you approach the western wall. I am grateful for your efforts on behalf of the Dunedain. Mideldir has shown me the account in Nondir's journal of the Grey Fear, and if what the scholar wrote is true, the creature is a spirit drawn from the pits of Angmar, bound to the body of Prince Amandir. In life he was the lord of Tiryn Gorthad, and Dol Ernil was his home. Surely this site will still have some meaning for him. Does the Grey Fear remain somewhere within the keep, or has the presence of the Witch King and the Riders in Black already disturbed his slumber?
Those swords should be brought to Halbarad at Sarn Ford. He will know how best to deal with them.
When you return, perhaps we will have learned where the Grey Fear may be found. I agree with Gorwen. The creature must be somewhere within Dol Ernil. You tell Menelder to be careful, for Nondir's journal paints a frightening and deadly account of the creature that brought death to Cardolan and the line of its princes. I will, my friend. Fear not. I will see you when you return. Let me now put your mind at ease. It seems he is the only of the wizards to betray us, and thank the powers it be so. While you were gone, a rider came up out of the south, Gandalf the Grey, astride a mighty horse, a steed of Rohan. We spoke only briefly, but it was enough to assure me that Gandalf still aligns himself on the side of the free peoples. And yet, the wizard's tidings were not all so rosy, for he said that evil forces are now in motion, and that could threaten the peace and safety of all of Middle-earth. He could spare no more time before hurrying into the Shire in pursuit of the Nazgûl that preceded him. But what brings you back to this place? You briefly tell Halbarad what you have learned of the Grey Fear, and that Gorwen and Menelder believe it remains hidden somewhere within the keep of Dol Ernil. These swords you bring to me will be destroyed, for the ruins that cover their faces are evil. But after I see that done, you must return to Dol Ernil, and not alone. I and several of my company will go with you. I fear the two who remained may be in great danger. Menelder and Gorwen are both gone.
This is what I feared.
Did some evil come to them, or did they foolishly depart in search of it? Gorwen, at least, would have the sense to remain until your return, but of Menelder I cannot say. He has fled his duty before. Might he not do the same today? We have no choice now. We have to search for Gorwen and for Menelder, and hope we are not too late. Prepare yourself, Sepcapi, and speak to me when you are ready. One way or another, this adventure nears its end. The tracks lead into Dol Ernil, but the message I read from them is confused. I cannot determine if Gorwen or Menelder came this way in peace, or if their progress was hindered by an onslaught of foes. They were together, at least. Of that I am certain. We must follow them. Prepare for battle, friends. We must search the throne room of Dol Ernil for clues.
They came this way, but where then did they go?
Perhaps in this dusty trapdoor. The trapdoor leads to catacombs beneath the fortress. A trapdoor leading to catacombs beneath the fortress. I do not think Gorwen would follow Menelder into such a place, Sepcapi. We will continue the search up here, but if you think there is a chance that two of them descended into the catacombs, that is what you believe, I will not stop you from there continuing your search. We will join you below when we have finished looking for them up here. And with fortune, we will bring you word that they are found, and your own search of the catacombs was needless. You must search the catacombs for Menelda and Gorwyn alone. There's Gorwyn. Something is wrong, Sepcapi. While you were gone, Menelda and I passed the time in quiet conversation. Nothing seemed amiss for hours, but then, all at once, he leapt to his feet, upsetting his cup and dropping his crust of bread in the dirt. "It is not dark enough for such creatures," he shouted, drawing his sword. "What do you see?" I asked him, but he answered me not. I do not think he heard my words, and he dashed away from the camp and out among the ruins. I gathered up my own equipment and followed him, but for the risk of being cut by one of his blind swings, I dared not get too near. It is a wonder he did not blunder into the wights that prowl the ruins above, or perhaps it is not. They might not have understood the words he spoke, and believed his swings were made at them. But I heard the words. He does not know where he is, Sepcapi. He thought the throne room above was a farmhouse in the woods, and the trap door the entrance to a root cellar. I do not know what illusionary foe he believes he faces, but whatever form it takes, I know this. It must be the work of the Grey Fear.
He is down here, but I know not how we might save him.
Trolls? At this time of year?
Look out!
No time to waste. Slay them all! The trolls return!
Menel, dear, awake from this.
The specters of his past hold him tightly, woman. He will never escape them.
You lie! How have you worked this evil?
Great power resides in Cardolan. I was given only a part. The new Lord of Angmar possesses a good deal more.
Release him from the spell!
I will not abandon you. I will not. Release him. Only the grave can do so.
No! No!
The power given to me by my master is of great use. All he asks in return is that I serve him. But I was a lord. This was to be my land. None command me. Perhaps I will take on a new form, a young form, and strong. This kingdom will be mine again, a kingdom of the dead.
Stay thy hand, creature.
You are too late.
But still, we will oppose you.
Your time will come, thin-blooded craven. The kingdom of the dead will await you.
Gorwyn, are you all right?
I will live, but Menelder...
Menelder's breathing is shallow, his heart beat slow. He does not have much time left. There were trolls, Sepcapi, like there were before. My watch, my vigil. I would not abandon those folk. Not this time. Not for my oath. For me. And Elder slips away. He is gone. The creature has fled, Sepcapi, and we cannot pursue it from here. But we will see its designs undone, and the schemes of its master overthrown. I swear it. For now we will bring Menelder from this place. We will not leave him here.
The Grey Fear has fled, but he will not abandon his hatred of this land.
When he reappears, wherever that may be, he must be faced again. Let us hope there are others with your strength, and with Menelder's strength to oppose him. Halbarad nods solemnly. Aye, there was strength in Menelder I had not seen before. I will not say my people judged him too harshly. Instead, I will say this. I know what caused him to depart the Dunedain. Did he trust you with a tale? You nod, remembering the pain on Menelder's face as the two of you prepared to take the road out of Herne. That he let his caution wane, and the family paid for it with their lives, is a matter of great sadness. But if he spoke of his mistake to Aragorn, chieftain of the Dunedain, and he to whom we swore our oaths, he would not find heated words. He would not find reprimand or reprisal. He would find words of support and understanding, and perhaps tears. Menelder made a mistake, as every man and woman who walk these lands has made a mistake. Some were lesser, and some greater, but what truly matters is how they learn from the mistakes they made. We have shown the Grey Fear that this land will not surrender without resistance, but it seems other dangers spring forth even now. If it is true that the realm of Angmar rises again, and its new leader serves the Lord of the Nazgûl, we are about to become very busy, Sepkapi. This is what I think we should do. I will travel to the North Downs to see if there is activity along the border with Angmar. I will go with a number of my kin to reinforce the old city of Estelden, abandoned for many years in a hidden cleft among the hills. If it need become a thriving settlement once again and draw the eye of new foes away from other peaceful villages, well, I will make that judgment when I get there. As for you, Sepkapi, you have proven yourself a friend of the Dunedain. I suggest that you aid the people of the North Downs and the Lone Lands, increasing your strength and the good you can do for the people who dwell in those places. When you have achieved as much as you can for them, seek out the Ranger Candith, who keeps watch on Amansul, the old hill of Weathertop, in the Lone Lands. Tell him what you have seen here, and warn him of the rising dangers that now threaten Middle-earth. Go with the goodwill of the Dunedain, my friend. May we meet again in happier times.
You have defeated the Ongbur's chieftain, a cruel orc who stood at the head of Gurzlum's might. Your adventures have made you stronger and even more willing to help those in need.
The Great East Road has seen much more travel than usual in recent days. What brings you to the base of Weathertop? You briefly explained that you were sent by Halbarad to warn of increasing dangers in the wild, and that a new shadow rises in the realm of Angmar. Candith nods. I have heard rumors that this might be so from others of my kin that have passed this way, and I have seen evils enough with my own eyes not to disbelieve it. There is a hidden dale in the Trollshaws, far to the east and across the last bridge, where the wisest of lore masters resides. Elrond is his name, and he is the master of Rivendell. It was in his house that my chieftain Aragorn was raised. If any will know what must be done about the growing threat of Angmar, it will be he. You must make for Rivendell. I will tell you what I can of this last leg of your journey, Sepkapi. Speak to me when you are ready. Orcs have grown bolder and ferocious in recent days, but when you cross the last bridge into the Trollshaws, you will face greater peril. Something has stirred the beasts of the wild into madness, and if it travels ahead of you, there may be great evil left in its wake. Luck be with you as you travel the road through the Trollshaws and begin the climb towards Rivendell. The path will not be easy, but Elrond must be told of what befell you in Cardolan and of the growing threat of Angmar.
Good luck to you. The road will be a long one, and dangerous. Friend, do we share the same road?
I have not seen you since you departed Sarn Ford in the company of Halbarad, Sepkapi. When he returned to us, he told us what befell Menelder beneath Dor El-Nil. We wept for him, despite his past. But evil stirs in the land, and there is little time to mourn. What brings you into the Lone Lands? You tell Galasebdir that you seek to bring word to Elrond of Rivendell that the Witch King and his servants have evil designs upon the realm of Angmar. The ranger thinks for a moment. I had planned to return to Tornhard in the angle of Methythel, Sepcapi, but your journey feels to be of great import to me. I would accompany you on this quest, if you would have me. The road to Rivendell is like to be dangerous. You tell Galasebdir that his company would be welcome as you make for Rivendell. Then we are agreed. Lead on, my friend. There it is again, Sepcapi, among the trees just off the road. Do you hear that rustling? It sounds to me like something large, pretending to be small. A troll, to be certain. Is it beyond hope to think we might pass its notice?
He's seen us! Another one!
I will be glad when we leave the troll shows, friend.
Trolls are not known to be clever, Sepcapi, and for the most part they do not hunt together. It may have been misfortune alone that we had to face two in succession, or perhaps the days grow darker and the rising threat to the shadow makes the creatures grow more bold. We should proceed. Soon we will need to climb, and the footing may become treacherous. I have only been to Rivendell once, in the company of my chieftain Aragorn, but I believe we are nearly there. Soon we will see the elves that guard the pass, and you will bring your warning of the shadow that rises in Angmar to Elrond.
I think we are close. Rivendell is near. Something has troubled the animals here, as in Cardolan. Should there not be guards here? Something is not right. Could evil have at last found this hidden refuge?
Not if we maintain our vigilance, Dunedain. You saw no guards, but that does not mean Imladris is unguarded. It is good to see you again.
You are welcome to Imladris, Sepcapi. My heart sings to see you safe. Scouts saw you and Galasebdir of the Dunedain as you climbed to the high moor, and they brought word to me and to others in the Vale as you neared the pass. I begged leave of Lord Elrond that I be the one to greet you. You did not make this journey to give him the tidings of Saruman I have already delivered, I trust. No, I see in your eye there is something else. I told you once we stood on the very precipice of danger. The events of recent days have shown to me I was more right than I knew. Others await your arrival in Imladris. One such friend made haste to greet you at the entrance, but it seems he has not yet arrived. Look for him further along the path.
Your friend awaits further along the path.
Boromir of Gondor looks up at you with a pleased grin on his face. I see your own journey finds its end in the same northern dale as does mine, Sepcapi. When I heard the elves calling among themselves that a man neared Rivendell in the company of a ranger, I knew that you and Meneldir approached. But where is he? Why does he tarry? Boromir sees something in your expression and falls silent. His journey too has ended, is that it? Tell me what befell him as we walk, Sepkapi. It is still a long way to the house of Elrond. He was a good man and brave, Sepkapi, and he died fighting evil. May each of us do the same. That is where our roads must lead. Elrond awaits.
The master of the house has asked me more questions than he has given me answers. Perhaps you will fare better. I will show you to.
Sepkapi. Yes, I know something of the road you took to get here, Sepkapi, and some of the tidings you bring. Not all, though, but some. Folk of different lands have come to Rivendell in recent days, and I see that a hopeful sign. Councils will be taken in the days to come. Decisions of great import must be made. But this is not my house. You should speak with Elrond, his master, and give to him the message you have brought across so many miles. I will see you again.
Welcome to Rivendell, Sepkapi. This is a place of safety and of refuge. You are welcome to take what rest you can within the Vale. But first, are you willing to tell me what brings you here? Many are the dangers you have faced to get here, and if your tale is like others I have heard of late, I believe they signify trouble ahead for the peoples of Middle-earth. You tell Elrond you have much to tell, and he nods, a thoughtful expression on his face.
Speak, then, of how you came to this place of safety, Rivendell, the last homely house east of the sea. But speak swiftly before the shadows deepen. From where did your road lead?
You have woven quite a tale, Sepkapi, and if you should wish it to be ended, none will judge you for it. But in your words I sense something else, indeed. Two somethings. I sense that you possess a desire for adventure, and it remains unquenched even after your trials in the wilderness. You could not remain in this peaceful haven for long before that desire compelled you once again to seek out and oppose great dangers. And I sense, too, that you wish to continue your work on behalf of the free peoples of Middle-earth. We enter a dangerous time, and mighty foes seek to return to the height of their powers, heights that were stolen from them in centuries past by great heroes. Are you to be one of these heroes in this age, Sepkapi? I wonder. So rest then, for as long as you wish, and return to me when you are ready to resume your adventure. The shadow that rises in Ingmar must be faced and defeated, and I fear the Black Riders that troubled Cardolan and pursued Frodo Baggins hither have not been defeated for good. One of their number has not been found.